Good evening, everybody. It is August 27th, 2020, um, 9:10 in the p.m. And we're going to do our call in share show. So, first, I want to make a couple of announcements. I think I had mentioned um, a couple days ago on a stream that I was losing one of my brothers. He fell in the garage, and I went into the hospital, and gradually over time got worse and worse to the point he got put on life support, and then they gave his wife a very difficult decision to make, and we thought that it would possibly be a long drawn out process of watching somebody, go through something like that, deteriorate. But he actually passed today. So, we hear about a lot of people leaving this realm. We hear about a lot of people, going, and I that's what I call it, leaving this realm, going someplace else. Being active someplace else, not necessarily because when we realize, the more aware, more conscious that we are, there truly is no death. We are all infinite. So when we depart from one, we enter into another. But the 3D or 4D reality that we interact with on a daily basis, it still, is a part. We miss things. We miss conversations, hugs, those kind of things are missed. A lot of you know that. I know that firsthand. So tonight, the call-in show. I'm going to turn the phones on so that they are active. We're That is super loud in my ears. I'm so glad you guys can't hear that. Okay, and the phone number is scrolling across the bottom, so you'll be able to dial in and then hit the pin, and it can hold up to 5 calls. And when you're on hold, just go ahead and mute the YouTube broadcast, because you'll hear everything that's going on if somebody's talking and I'm talking right there. And then you can still interact with the chat. Realize, though, when you're listening from in there, you're hearing things a few seconds before they go out live to everybody else. So you may be typing things in there that people will go, huh? But you're 4 seconds ahead. So, anyways, so, it's a blessing that he went so quickly, but it's, it's devastating because, he's my age. As my husband and I are a combined family, he has 3, I had 2, and so which made 5 children combined. We look at, each of them as our children. There's no discerning the difference because we came together as one. So whatever I had becomes part of the one. This that, and the same was with my mom and my dad. My dad had 2 sons, and my mom had the 4 of us when they came together, giving them 6. Later on in life, though, my dad adopted me. So I guess he would be a brother from another mother, but my brother nonetheless. And I'm grateful, like I said, that his wife did not have to go through a long drawn out process. But also, I'm heartbroken because my dad is still alive, and going through losing a child myself, I know what he's going through. It's hard. It's so out of order. It's so disoriented. So we're going to talk about the flat globe. We're going to talk about left or right, left. We're talking about our imagination, our perception, and our experiences. And I have been receiving so much information. As I always say, we're all dream workers, and then we become more and more aware, then we get lucid, and then we can see. And a lot of times that paradigm we go into, which was affirmed by another speaker, but I'm not going to give his name because he didn't say it live. But that when we're in that realm, when we become lucid, it seems more real than here. So it's like when we wake up, are we in the dream? Or when we're asleep, are we in the dream? Or are we in reality when we wake up here? Or are we in reality when we go to sleep and wake up there? Something to think about. I mentioned to you guys about a transcript that I seen in my when I was lucid. Well, I got another look at that transcript. That transcript is in the formation of it, it's thick. So I saw one page of it, and then there's many other pages underneath. And remember, I told you that the classes that were listed, because it said transcript, didn't make any sense. So I took a closer look at what I was being shown this time. It's in gold writing, it's on paper, but it's like paper that will not deteriorate. You can't tear it. You know, papyrus maybe, but not papyrus. You can't, it doesn't wither away. And I got to look at the classes. If you're interested, I'll let you know a few of them. They're actually experiences. It's in, like, I saw that I experienced being homeless. I was homeless for about a year. So, you know, I had a one next to that. They're life experiences that we go through. On there was buying my first home was an experience. The transcript that I was shown the first time was harder things. So I want to try to explain how I understood it after, you know, seeing it again. We go through certain experiences and then we get, you know, one, you know, like check. But as we go on, the level of difficulty for each experience that we go through may like have a uptick to the difficulty level. Some people could be suffering with coming down with something that's very painful and chronic, but that's a life experience, and in that life experience it's a heavy life experience, not only for the one suffering but for those around them whom are, you know, caregiving or doing other things. So the transcript was, you know, just like I said, those random acts of kindness where you go and smell the flowers. And no, Baxter, honey, everything's okay. Everything's okay. Don't worry. My pit bull, he's always on high alert. And so I've had a few phenomenal experiences, which is bringing us to the topic we're going to talk about tonight. So I went lucid, and what I was seeing, it was like neon lights in the sky, but it looked more like a drawing in these neon lights, okay? And then it was like it was supposed to have some kind of power or influence or something of that nature. Well, then what was considered in my dream state that would be enemy or something, this thing showed up. Like I said, it was like neon lights, and then when like the supposed enemy came up, it did some kind of a little zap thing, and the enemy just disappeared. In the meantime, what I also saw in the sky, and I've said this a few times, which is probably why it showed up the way it did in my dream, is I'm as old as dirt. So when we talk about the angelics, or we talk about what we would call aliens, or when they tried to describe, in ancient times or drew on hieroglyphs what they were seeing. So this could be a phenomena or an anomaly, which we would call watchers or whatnot, that's been going on as long as dirt has been around. So those actually showed up in the sky, but those were the real. That was shown to me in such a way that there was like a smaller one and a bigger one and a bigger one and a bigger one, and they were real. So who am I to say that what somebody is experiencing or what they have belief in, that cannot manifest or be created? Man can create things that will, you know, the ones that were like in the neon or clear color seem to stand out obviously, where, like I said, the others blended. They're there, they're real, they're a part of what we're going through here, but they blended in. They blended within like clouds, or but to me, like I said, they looked like a ready muddish, and the intention, the feeling that I got was natural. This is the natural state, and then the neon light would be what we would, call project what blue beam. So, whatever would be projected is going to be so obvious to us, whom have our conscious awareness going. It's going to be so obvious because we're going to feel the intention, and it'll be a void. We'll see it. It may be something completely beautiful to look at, but it will be devoid of any kind of consciousness or energy, because the more aware that we are, that number one, we're dream workers, and number two, we're becoming self-aware of everything that is within us, every tool, every gift, every ability, and therefore we'll be able to sense with that empathic gift that's within us all. We used to call it gut instinct. Now we can see even more clearly and feel emotions that others are having. That same individual that I talked to the other night was, talking about, we were discussing that, whenever our child needs something, there's between, like, especially between mothers and fathers and their children, that there is an easier telepathic telecommunication that can go on with such a connection, such a pure connection of unconditional love as a mother or father would have for their child, and as the child would have for their mother and father. That is, when we talk about the purity of love, there's nothing that surpasses the purity of that unconditional love that a parent has for a child, and vice versa. And a lot of times we'll find ourselves saying the same thing at the same time, or communicating with one another without saying words, but know exactly what the other needs or what the other is sharing. So, mom may automatically get up and start fixing child a sandwich and a glass of juice. Child didn't say anything except for thought, I'm hungry, but I don't want to bother mom right now. She's resting. Mom subconsciously heard that, got up, and made the sandwich and the juice for the child, without the child feeling like they were putting mom out, or dad. It goes, mom and dad, the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Although unique, each of us are unique. Unique in our physical form, and actually even with the example with the triangle, men don't dig and ask the questions where women will. You know, I gave the example of the divorce. Man comes home, tells wife about some good friends. Oh yeah, they're getting a divorce. Wife says, "Why?" I don't know. I didn't ask. Why didn't you ask? So the wife will ask the why, to get to the bottom of it to see if there is reconciliation or anything of that nature possible, or, you know, just want to know exactly what happened. Where the men are satisfied with what they're given. Okay, let me see. We got a caller, and let me see who I've got. Okay, let me. Okay, 415. Tell me who you are, and I will put your name up, and I will um, unmute the desktop while I'm in OBS. Who am I talking to? Can you hear me? Oh, hey, sweetie. Hang on a second, okay? Let me put your first. Let me do this. Where are you, desktop? There you are. Okay, say something. Make sure it's working.
What's up? Okay. What's
Awesome.
up, everybody in the chat? I see you. I see you. Everybody in chat, how are you doing?
I see you. Did you get my message?
Yes, I did. So here's
That
the
is,
validation.
yeah. Okay, because that's weird. I've never seen anything like that. Hold on. Let me do something here. And I know your name. Sometimes you forget, but it is propagate this light. Okay. Make sure I spelled it right. I think I did. P R O
Wait a
P
minute.
A A. Is it AGATE?
Yeah, it's like prop a gate.
Gotcha. 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 Gotcha.
Heaven's gate. Haha.
You're silly. You're silly. You're just being silly. What do you have to
Thank you.
share? I'm trying to get to the awareness of, if we think it, we believe it without any doubt, we experience it. So if I believe the earth is flat, I'll
Hmm.
experience a flat earth, and that's real to me. If I believe the
Hmm.
earth is a globe and we can go into outer space, I will experience that. So it's not a matter of right or wrong. It's a matter of
Hmm.
perception, and how both can be simultaneously right. Okay, so this is validation. This is you. And see, I don't
Hmm.
know.
It's me.
I have never seen um, where it doesn't allow for us to have two with the same channel name or whatever
Hmm.
in as a moderator. And so when you were in there
Hmm.
twice, I didn't know what to do. I was like, well, which one is him? Because I knew I had you in there before. Or
Hmm.
it could, because I know that was you. It could have just been a YouTube glitch. YouTube does
Mm.
weird things sometimes. And you'll see as time goes on. It's glitchy sometimes. And
It's glitchy.
it's glitchy. But right now, if I am not appearing under people's subscriber list, I don't know if I'm appearing or not. I put my the people I'm subscribed to as private, but it's only going to be temporary. Because I was like thinking, wait a minute, I'm giving people that may want to, troll or, poke fun or find it amusing, to do things. I'm giving them a roadmap by showing my
Mm.
subscriptions. Hey, you can find me here.
Yep. Yep.
Hey, you can find me there. So I decided I was going to hide them for a while, and things pretty much calmed down and died down. But if I'm not showing up on your
Hmm.
subscription list, don't worry. I'm still subscribed. I'm still there. But I don't know if it does
Cool.
that or not. So I don't know if
Right.
I would disappear from your subscriber list or not. So
Okay, I'm gonna check. I'll let you know.
okay, that's cool. So what's going on with you?
Well, the other propagate. See, I'm propagate the light. The other one is this light. That's the one you really know more than me.
What?
That's why it was two
So
names.
there is two. Is there two? Or are you messing with me? Because I don't know propagate the light. I only know propagate this light. Meta, stop it. Stop it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like as you say, propagate this light. Don't get it twisted. His word there.
I love
He said that on
Saji.
another
I
broadcast.
I
But
peeked
no.
I peeked in on them because I haven't been in there in a while. But you knew that I
Hmm.
stayed subscribed because we all need to support each other. It's about supporting each other. So I stayed subscribed, but sometimes we need to take that walk, and we take a walk to take a breather, so we're not sending things in directions that could, you know what I mean. Sometimes you have a fight with the spouse and you take a walk because you don't want to
Hmm.
say or even send thoughts or intentions towards somebody that
Hmm.
you love unconditionally. So I popped in there the other day. I didn't have much time, but it was really nice hearing Saji and Hebrew going at it back and forth. They're like
Yeah.
a comic. They like bounce off of each other, and there's humor, there's facts, there's humor, there's Mandela effects. But I only got to stay, just for a few minutes because I had already planned on
Hmm.
going live, and I saw I think it was just this past Tuesday, so I went in and said hello to him, and enjoyed
Hmm.
listening to him for a few minutes, hit that thumbs up for him, and then I had to boogie out and get set up to go live here. So it was nice. It was nice to see them, having their little chat.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that's the one I was referring to. I was actually on there. I called in.
Oh, you did? I think
Yeah.
another person either called in or maybe joined the StreamYard that evening. So
Hmm.
I'm not sure which one, because like I said, I was only able to be there just for a few minutes, and then we
Hmm.
went live over here, and then we ended up getting into this phenomenal conversation that we went ahead and went live with it. Gosh, it was the wee hours of the morning, but it was a really amazing conversation. So I was like, you guys, we should be sharing this. This isn't something, information isn't meant to be held, it's meant to be shared. Share it, we share with one another so we can glean, grow, and expand. So, yeah. So, what's your thoughts on the left, right, flat globe, or our imagination? We have a limitless imagination. The only thing that limits it is us, and how we experience different things based on what we're projecting out that we'll actually walk through and experience. What's your thoughts on that? Do you have some deep, profound wisdom to offer us?
I'm off the cuff. I'm always off the cuff with it. But well, yeah. Correction though. I didn't call into the show. I actually appeared on the stream with
Okay,
Saggy Hebrew in a God's armor.
okay.
Um.
So then that. Okay, so that makes sense because that's what I thought that he meant, that he went on Streamyard with them. So cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, I opened the yard too. Right now we're on OBS, and this
Hmm.
image behind me. My dad was in a
Hmm.
subway and saw that somebody had put up a wall banner um, with my channel. Too bad it didn't have my channel name on it, right? So he took this photo for me and gave it to me, so in honor of my brother, my dad's son. I brought this one up because we're really not talking about the Dark Night of the Soul or 3 Days of Darkness, but yeah.
Oh.
Do you believe that? Do you believe that's in a subway somewhere?
which subway?
Come on, you don't pay attention. You're not on here enough to know. My dad makes, he'll take pictures, photos, and he makes
Hmm.
so many of my backgrounds. They're
Right.
amazing. And a lot of them I'll put animation and things like that. But yeah, he made this for me actually. Um, so yeah,
Oh,
I'm not in a subway.
okay.
I'm
I was
having
I was
fun.
I was kind of I was kind of confused of the what it said and also the title of the actual stream.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
that is just that's a background that my father made, and it was awesome. So then I decided just to use the colors, to match with the Awake and Activate, putting up your name of whom's
Yeah.
on the phone and all of that. It's just a
Yeah.
background. It's a background. We're not talking about
Yeah.
the Dark Night of the Soul or any of that. We're talking about
Right.
what the yeah what the topic is and anything else anybody wants to share to broaden
Right.
our
Right.
awareness.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the last times I spoke to you, I was telling you that I like your cover art, so it looks pretty nice.
Thank you. Um, I have talked to him a little bit about possibly doing some work for other creators for backgrounds,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
maybe allowing people to maybe purchase or go through me and get like a I'm sure he would probably only charge like a buck. I know my dad, but I also know how much work goes into these type of art phenomena. Because he, like I said, he'll take a picture, and he'll like stretch the picture, but he'll take the picture and catch the lighting where it'll send out like fractals of light, and then he puts it into Photoshop, and then he'll stretch and do all kinds of fantastic things with these images. The one that you saw me saying, and let there be light, and you said that it shifted when I did that, the screen
Mhm.
shifted because the one was the
Mhm.
art and the other was where I added the candles to be flickering.
Mhm.
But that is one
Mhm.
that my dad made. He made that,
Mhm.
and in
Okay.
the circle is an actual
Mhm.
photo that he took, and
Mhm.
then he puts together all of that background, and then it takes a while, but they're phenomenal. He made me the tiger. He's made me so many. What I needed to do is just start saying like we are now. My father made this background for me, and he's very very talented, very talented. Hmm.
Mhm. Nice. Nice. Yeah. So your question, I do believe definitely that we do manifest. I'm still trying to understand everything. I don't have all the answers or whatever, but probably we do all have the answers within us. We just have to tap into it. And I think it's a lot like that saying that, when the student is ready, that saying right there is like when we're thinking of things that we want to manifest. I think that when we get out of the our pattern and we do something different or we think about something different, we probably then can see uh, when it comes into our world, right? So what I okay, let me re-explain. What I do is what I have done is this. It's like I said to myself that I want this in my life, right? And I want to remember that I wanted it before it came. So when it comes, then I will remember that I wanted it, and then I could try to understand more of how I'm manifesting things into my life. And I feel that it's also fueled by emotion as well and tension. I think some of those are more the what do you call it, the basic things that people talk about when talking about manifestation. And I do believe that, I've experienced it myself. Um, and so yeah, and we have to be careful for what we watch and what we listen to because we could inadvertently manifest things in our life that we don't want.
Hmm. And then
Um,
what do you think that about as you become more aware that when you watch things, then you're like hyper aware, so you don't manifest those things. And once you hit that awareness level, and you have that understanding of what's going on within you,
Mhm.
You think on it, and you don't even really. You could think about something for just a second, just like arguing with my husband about blocking the sun out, and I never gave it another thought. But we remember that argument, and then the sun changed its trajectory. I'm telling you, it was like, what the heck? But that didn't come
Mhm.
from TV. But the more that we become, what I would say, hyper aware, the awareness of what we
Mhm.
are, who we are, and what is around us, that we become, we don't get affected by things that come from the outside in. Everything comes from it inside out. It's like we're
Mhm.
we're in backwards land for a long time into the remembering to forget, to have an authentic
Mhm.
experience with each thing that we step through. Who knows what kind of a contract that we came in and what we're here to experience, to grow and expand. But if we come in with full memory, we would know that this place, we would think of this place as completely fake and bogus. So there wouldn't be really expansion. Do you know what I mean? Because we would be like, this is all fake. I'm just gonna make everything into cotton candy and lollipops, and I know I won't gain weight, and that's all I'm gonna do. We would get bored if it wasn't challenging. That, I think, is a part of our nature of curiosity, whether we're here or we're
Mhm.
on the other side, or where we go from here. We're going
Mhm.
to continuously grow, and we will have we'll face challenges, and then what we learn
Yeah.
and glean. So that's why that transcript thing now, what it was like a book. It When I first was presented to me, these white pillars were all around, and it was like that again. I had there were white pillars all around, and white flooring, but it was open air, and I was not on like the ground. Felt like it was like floating around out there somewhere when I was looking at the transcript, and it got, I know I was in the same place when I saw it in book form, and I took a closer look at the classes, because I did say that they seemed like nonsensical when you think about college stuff, but they were about experiences. And it's like, had the experience, learned, grew, won. Then the next one, the next one. Owned a cat, loved a cat, it just different weird things. The things that we think will be in there are not, and the things that we think won't be in there, the things we don't give a second thought to, that was what was listed on there. It was interesting, to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah. And another challenge also in the experience to me anyway is to lean more on the stuff that I really want to manifest in my life. I know it sounds like I'm repeating myself, but as I
Mm-hmm.
carry on, I'm saying that sometimes we think about. Well, I can't say we because I don't know what everybody thinks about. So I'm saying
We
me.
is inclusive.
Sometimes,
It's an all-inclusive word. So we is fine, because we are. That's a perfect word to use. Don't worry about saying me or I, or any. We is good. Don't worry about what the verbiage. We get it, because we're in it with you.
we get it.
We get it. We're with you. We're
We
all
get
in
it.
it together. We are one.
All right. All right. Yep. Yep. And so I I sometimes I think about things that I don't want to manifest, and it just pops in my head, and it's very um I don't like going through that, so I try to lean more on praying and telling God, and my higher self, that please don't, please allow me to go a different direction, because I'm aware that I'm thinking these thoughts that I don't want to end up in that situation or whatever. Just pretty much praying for safety and things like that. So when things pop into the head, like let's say like I just got through watching a video, a music video or whatever, right? And somewhere along the line, I think about something and I don't realize that it was influenced by something I've seen or heard earlier, which I don't want in my life, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
catch that and I talk to, um, let's say my higher self, or you can also say also God. I look at them both as separate, but like you said, we are one. So it's all, like you said, inclusive. So, but anyway, I will pray and ask to be in the direction of my desire. So I just share that with everybody. Maybe that will work for you, maybe it won't. But I think it's better than just to be floating through and then things are happening and keep ending up in situations that you don't want to be in, and you have to go through it, and you just don't like going through it. Um, Try to catch it beforehand, and hopefully you can keep aim those sails in the right direction.
Right. And it always seems like when I'm focusing, and it feels like I'm trying to work at it. I'm Then when I let go, it just happens. It's like when I think that I need to meditate on anything other than balance, to balance, to keep my feet on the ground and not lift off and go too spiritual. I want to be in balance, because if we go too spiritual, then we're not having the experience here that we're meant to have. And I find that if I meditate too much on one thing, that I'm actually hampering it for some reason. But if I just have the thought and just set that intention and that energy just out, then it just happens. As soon as I let go, things happen. It works different for each individual, but that's what seems to uh, be what transpires. And people that there's a couple people that are very well acquainted with the things that are going on in my real life, events that are I'm telling you, they're lifting me up with their strength, the strength that they are giving. And I'm telling you, the things that are transpiring now, I can't believe it. I'm being shocked, or shocked with the blessings, although it is a tremendous, heartbreaking, heart ripping apart event. At the same time, now what's transpiring is the strength that they are shoring me up with, and blessings of things that are coming into the light now that are going to be so beneficial for my family and help my family get through some really tough times. They're just uh, coming into the light now, out of nowhere, in like time. It's just amazing how much, when I say we're in this together, when we're lifting each other up, and we're walking in that um, hyper consciousness, for lack of a better word, the quantum entanglement that we have with one another will be what we see in the world stage. But in the meantime, we have individuals that are close, that don't want you to change, that love you for who you are, and you don't mistreat them. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we're harsh taskmasters or anything like that, but they love you unconditionally for who you are at this moment, knowing that we're all growing in this together. And then they sure up things, and then things will be even enhanced that much more. Hope that makes sense, because like I said, there's just, besides family, two, three people that really know what's going on, that have really have created for me leaps and bounds of different doors opening up to make things so much easier on the family. It's amazing. It's really amazing what we can do. But you know what? It says one could put 1,000, two could put 10,000, and then I say like, well, then three add another zero, and four add another zero, on how fast things can go, in our direction with the people shoring things up. What's your thoughts on that? When you're like, you're married, right, Meta?
No, I'm not married. Not anymore.
Okay, I'm sure.
I'm single. No, I'm just.
Yeah, you're single and ready to mingle. But okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's pretend maybe you've got a girlfriend or whatever. Okay, you and her are discussing something, and you come wholeheartedly into agreement on something. You're discussing it. You come wholeheartedly into agreement, and then you just let it go. You're wholeheartedly in agreement, and then in like it seems like no time at all, maybe a week later, what you two were discussing. Maybe it was plans for the future, hoping to get a scholarship to enter into school, or talking about, well, there's a position that opened up and it's on the bid board, but I'm going to bid for it and I don't know if I've got the qualifications, and you discuss it with each other, and then you're sure up you've got the qualifications, a significant pay raise, plus it's like a promotion. And then you'll find that like the next week or within the next few days, that that's your reality now. You were the one that is selected. And I'm just using this as an example because this happens in all areas, that we look at. If we do not doubt, and if we have another that is right there in lockstep with us, that with that unconditional love, that pure heart and pure intentions, the enhancements that it will create for the family dynamics, the betterment it would do for children, your wife, whatever, because it won't just be, it's not a selfish thing. It would be something that would benefit not just you, but others also. And it just happens because you two are talking in agreement, the doubt is removed, you just drop the conversation, and then boom, it happens. What do you think about stuff like that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely, I agree. You know. Yeah. It's kind of challenging for me, to keep my mind on the right, well, what I feel is the right things. But you know, I think that a part of my, what do you call it? My part of my exercising on trying to be more spiritual than just the physical. I had to get out of survival mode. Then I had to control my emotions, and doing a lot of more personal clearing. One of the things was I decided to fast from something.
Oh,
Excuse me,
fasting
a long
is
time
great.
ago.
I'm trying to think. Are you are you talking about when your heart cracked open and you feel everyone around you, that you learned how to pull that back in so you weren't picking up everybody, uh, what was going on in everybody? What do you mean control your emotions?
Oh well, like you said, being that I wasn't married, it was a struggle with the particular person I was with. But then again, I had my faults as well, and I still have some faults. Also, I'm a perfectionist, but I know that I'm not perfect. So yeah, it was in the relationship, and that was one of my big relationship changes. As far as the ME, when people talk about relationship changes,
Mm-hmm.
that was one of my big ones right there. And yeah, I had to like, wow, okay, so my claim to fame was on Facebook, I would say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was putting up quotes and things like that. And a lot of what I was going through in the marriage or in my relationship with other people, um, instead of reacting negatively, I would come up with stuff to say to other people to possibly help them through the day. So I would transmute that energy into something positive and share it, and it would be quotes that would just come to me. I feel that maybe it was my higher self talking to me, or maybe it was God inspired or something like that. because I'm a lyricist too. So sometimes I come up with lyrics just out of nowhere. But I
I
was
got
going through a lot of.
busted. Meta, I got busted. We went into the StreamYard because I have a private room set up for off-air conversations. And so I was waiting, but I was over there dinking around in my email, so I wasn't looking. And I was just
Hmm.
singing away to myself because it takes people a few minutes to get their email and then to get connect in and their avatar, whatever, to come in there. I got busted
Hmm.
singing. I was so embarrassed. I was like, because when I went back over to StreamYard, because it doesn't do like this phone that we're on now, it makes a little sound when
Hmm.
somebody's there. Uh,
Yeah.
it didn't do that when they popped in there. So I'm thinking it would. And I'm over there reading email and I'm just singing away. And I got busted. I'm not going to tell you who busted me because I don't want to say anything about it because it embarrassed me. But yeah, go on. You're a lyricist. You just made
Oh,
that
so
fresh in my mind.
oh, okay. So you're saying somebody that was near around you, caught you singing or something like that, or?
Yeah, we were heading into a private StreamYard to talk offline, off air after a live stream. And
Oh,
so I had emailed
okay.
them the link, and then it takes a while sometimes for people to, maybe they got up, wanted to get a drink or whatever before they were going to come in. So I was off, in checking my email, and I was checking Facebook because I have to close Facebook when I go live so we can use the bandwidth. Anyways, I was singing away, and then I came back and they were in there, and I was like, "Did you hear that?" And they're like, "Yes." I was like, "Oh my god." Oh.
Oh yeah,
Don't ask me to sing
yeah.
live. It's not happening. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue. So you're lyrics. I wanted to say something when you said flaws. Um, don't look at flaws as they're not flaws. It's our imperfections that make us unique and beautiful. It's our it to unconditionally love somebody is to accept them for who they are, whether they're having a good day or a bad day. When it's when we try to, usurp control or shame or belittle to take control over somebody else, where that would be something that, within ourselves we would need to recognize and get rid of. But still, it's still like that transcript, it would still be an experience, and it would be an acknowledgement, and then it would be, awakened to it, and then you were activated to do something about it. But I don't look at people, you know, flawed. I don't see flaws. I see uniqueness. I see different personalities and perspectives. So um, I just wanted to point that out because I don't want you to think of yourself ever in the terms that you're broken or flawed. We're all a work in progress. Does that make
Right,
sense?
right.
Okay.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. I am aware that I'm still a student in this, you know. Um, and so yeah, yeah. So that's what I was doing, just transmuting that energy by putting out positivity. So that's what I say, just work on that. And I've been through dark moments where being angry and being mad and things like that. And then sometimes when somebody else is involved, and then it just fuels the fire. Some people say you fight fire with fire, but what I say is that if you fight fire with fire, you make a bigger flame,
You both
right?
get burned.
And yeah, when I see the fire, when I see people, the firemen out there, they're not fighting fire with fire. uh, but I understand what people are saying, but sometimes we have to watch some of these quotes and things that we're actually saying, because sometimes we could because words are powerful, and we could inadvertently just keep going in the wrong direction, just chasing our tail. You know what I mean? And just ask God. If you believe in God, talk to God or the source, and just say what your desires are instead of saying like,
I don't
okay,
see
I'm in a
anything outside of God.
situation.
There's nothing outside of God. Everything is divine. Everything is divinely inspired. I just feel like what a blessing it is for us to have free will, or at least the illusion of free will. Who knows? But to be able to do what we're able to do when we become aware of it, the more awareness that I find it, it's more like self discovery, self love, self awareness, um, but it's not selfish. It's not anything that would have to do with negating or taking away from somebody else's unique sovereignty. But the more we become self aware, the more we're able to self love, the more that we're able to lift ourselves, into like hyper awareness of realizing number one that we've been operating in these gifts since birth. So when the gifts come into our awareness, we feel special, we feel chosen. But then we need to be humbled. But as time progresses, the humility comes in when you all of a sudden, with your self awareness, realize, oh, I've been doing this since I was born. It's our natural state of being. We're sixth sense beings. And so is everybody else. So what's there to brag about, right? So then it's like we're equal. So um, there's humility. But in the self awareness, let's go back to your words. Words can be used as a spell, or they can be used as a prayer or a blessing on somebody. And that goes with energy, with our intentions. Energy comes in neutral. We put out with our words, with our sound, with our frequency, and our energy. We will put, I'm sorry, in our intentions, we will send that energy to work into a manifestation through our intentions from our heart. And that's where, when, the more self love we have, the more that we understand who we all are to one another, that we will be sending out the intention into the energy for the highest good for each other. We won't want to buffer one another. We'll want each other to experience and expand whatever direction we want to without judgment. And then where spells come in is you're mad at somebody and you may be yelling at them, shouting them down, or using cuss words and stuff. Well, there's energy involved, and there's intention being put into that energy, and it's being directed. And then if you go and talk to your friends about it and this, and get other people to take sides, inadvertently those people are adding to that energy, that of that intention of dividing or taking a side. And then we talk about energy vampire and things like that. There's people, everything is a dance and an exchange. That's why we're to take our thoughts into captivity. No, we don't want to be robbing people's very essence of life, liberty, freedom to express, to be, and to create an experience. It's hyper awareness. You know what I mean? The more aware that we are of how powerful that each of us are, and how we can buffer each other or enhance each other just by words and the intentions behind them. It makes a world of difference. What's your thoughts on it? You brought that up earlier, so I wanted to make sure that I touched back on it to get your opinion on it.
Yeah. I think that we affect each other, with our thoughts and our actions. Um, yeah. Hopefully, I'm answering your question. I didn't mean to ramble earlier. Sorry about
No, no,
that.
no, no, no. It's your call. It's your share. You brought up um, blessings and spells, and so I was just trying to talk about what where my journey has led me to the
Mhm.
understanding of energy. Energy is neutral.
Mhm.
It's completely neutral. We can also transmute energy. Like energy can come to us as a negative thought form, and when you can feel it, you can grab it and you can like empty that out of it, and then send that energy back out with a hug and a kiss, and take anything negative out. Because sometimes, I want you to think about this, and then let me know what you think. When energy has what we would consider a spell, or anger, or wanting vengeance or whatever, okay, so we've sent that intention into this energy, and let's say it goes towards a target that is pure. That target has no ill will or intention towards the other. It will do a little bit there, but it's not going to be able to absorb all. So then that intention with that energy, it's going to continue on. It's going to continue on and continue on until all of that intention from, you know, that anger that was put into that energy has been dispersed. So that's why, when we talk about transmuting energy, that is so important, that when you feel such a thing, even if it's directed to you and it's really going to kind of ricochet off of you, because it may not be, it may have been something that is said or done that's not even true, and that will have very, very low impact on if you're the receiver. But you can still feel it come in, and you can grab that energy. You can scoop it up and then empty that out, and then fill it with the highest of intentions. And I think that, a lot of us are at that level of awareness, to do no harm to one another. It's not, our experiences are unique and beautiful, and we learn and grow and expand from them. But everything that we do here, even everything that is like manifesting, computers, everything is energy. It's mainly empty space. Is what science is coming down to. Like, we live in this huge simulation or matrix, or all kinds of theories. But in truth, we are much more than this avatar. My brain is not my mind. Okay, my mind will make me this avatar. It will then, in my imagination, tell me what a brain is supposed to look like. So then I could put it in a 3D perspective. Okay, and our heart is magnetic, and that's that toroidal field. And then, of course, we've got the Merkaba, which we travel around in. But let me stick on energy. The more aware that we are, that our words and our heart and our mind put out frequency, we are more attentive. We pay more attention to how we express. And it's not in the words that we say, it's actually in the intentions. And then that goes into that energy, and then that energy then goes into motion, and then it manifests itself in one way or another. What's your thoughts on the energetic dance that we do here?
Yeah, I agree with that. I was thinking something similar to that for the past couple of days, where um, let's say if someone says something to me, or they say something about me or something like that, and I'm just talking about my private life, um, and then I feel a certain way inside. I now realize, wait a minute, that's not them making me feel that way. It's me feeling that way, right? Like, my nerves are reacting to it, I guess you could say. Because you said earlier about a feeling that's inside. Where is that feeling coming from? Is it coming from the other person, or is it coming from within me? Is it like a spider sense? Like I'm picking, like my body's reacting to what I'm
Your spidey senses?
thinking?
Your superhero powers? You are a
Yeah.
superhero. Yeah. You
Yeah,
you
yeah.
you can
So they're
feel
they're
it
not
too. Yeah.
right. They're not literally throwing energy my way, and I can feel it. I think that feeling is coming from me. What do you think about that?
I can discern my own toroidal from energy, what I would call like a fiery dart or something of that nature. And I can also discern when I am receiving love uh, or strength and discern. And it's not something that they have to sit there and over meditate and pray and meditate and pray. And what it is they'll do it like one time. They won't think about it again, but it's their state of being and how they feel about me as a person. And that continues that flow, that beautiful flow of that unconditional friendship, that love that keeps it strengthens up, it assures. They don't have to be sitting in a yoga position under a tree all day long, day in and day out. When you send out that energy, that energy packet, okay, to another individual, it will continuously flow over. Even like if you're angry with somebody, for as long as you stay angry, you're still sending a steady stream of energy directed towards whomever it is that you feel wronged you or that you're angry with. That's why we're to, forgive. I often go back to the Bible because that's what I was raised with. And they asked Christ, should I forgive my brother 7 times a day? Like that's a lot. And then Christ responded, no, 7 times, 70, meaning an infinite amount of times. Keep your heart on forgiveness so you're not sending out those type. And that's what I was referring to, is like a spell would be something that is done in anger, where a blessing is where we lift one another up, and it's a constant stream of energy. In the meantime, many of us are sensing, like with your superhero spidey senses, um, you can pick up if like a dart is being thrown, or if somebody that is close to you is getting hit, and then it kind of bounces off of them, and then you'll pick up on some of it, and then it'll, like energy has to uh, fulfill until it is back to neutral state, ready for repurposing. So it will continue to do that energy stream until it's neutral, and then it can then be reused. But mind you, there's an infinite amount of energy. But we are learning how to grab that energy, like I said, and convert it so that it doesn't do harm to somebody that may be a recipient of such of an energetic anger, or thought forms of that nature that can, they steal the life essence, um, life force from each other. But we didn't know this. That's a part of self-discovery, self-awareness, self-love. Love thy neighbor as thyself. First you got to love yourself, right? How can you love your neighbor as yourself if you don't even know how to love yourself? So we always have to start with here, us, and then move forward from there. Does that make sense? With energetic exchanges, and how we can convert. I'm not saying that it's not that we shouldn't let steam out of the pot. When we're angry, don't carry that anger in your heart, because that's what continues that stream of energy. Talk it out with the other person. Take a walk and cool down, and reapproach that other person later, when things are cooled down, and try to keep our thoughts into captivity. So therefore, we're not causing harm to another. me check it to see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was going to check to see if you're still there.
Yeah.
Thought I might have lost you. Hey, preliminary
No.
vision in Christ. Sorry.
So when you have that steady stream going and you're thinking something about somebody, now this is my question. I know you explained how they feel the energy.
Mhm.
So my question is, let's say you're thinking about something about somebody, and then you're saying that's a steady stream of energy going in their direction. That's
Mhm.
a question. That's the part that I have a question about, right? So how do we know that there's this invisible force going towards this person, and it's going to affect them in some type of way?
Well, I
Does that sound?
I always test all things. I test it, and I recommend you do the same. You'll get the affirmations that you need for whatever it is that you're going through. As when things come to me, even we're all dream workers. When it comes into the awareness, I will test all things, and then I will get the affirmations, and through the affirmations, then I know. A lot of times, I will get you know, have things happen in dream time and things of that nature. But then I'm going to wait. I will sit on it basically until I get some affirmations before I disperse information without knowing for myself by doing testings on things and getting my own affirmations. Each of us are unique. Not everything's in the same order, but we know even Einstein, E equals mc squared. I mean, this is how it was taught to me, and I'm talking like well over a decade ago. It said, use Einstein's theory, E equals mc squared. Energy equals matter. Wait, energy equals matter created squared. So, energy by its nature is the element that we, with our intentions, we create. And that brings us back to the topic of the show. If I'm wanting to experience a flat earth, and I don't have any doubt that it's flat, I can do tests and get affirmations, and for me, I will experience a flat earth. If I believe that there is outer space, or or that this place is a globe spinning, I really don't think, to be quite honest, I really don't think that um, we've been out far enough to actually see the actual shape of this place. I have hard times thinking that it's spinning and flying in one direction and then flying back the opposite direction is the same amount of time. You would think if it's spinning at such a velocity, it would be a lot quicker one way than it would be the other direction. So I have my questions on that. But whether or not, I want to experience it being a globe uh, type of a realm, if I believe it and I don't have any doubt, I'll experience that. Do you see what I'm saying? That's about that's about both paradigms being they seem opposite but and different, and they may even debate each other, but both of them can be simultaneously correct. I could think that I'm on a spinning pizza. That's the shape of the it's spinning this way, not this way through space. It's going in circles this way, and I'm on a pizza. Okay, and for me, that's the reality that I would experience because I don't doubt it.
So,
Hmm.
so you're saying that reality, because earlier you said that
Yeah, I jumped
people say
topics
it's a
on you.
simulate,
Sorry.
huh?
I jumped topics on you. I know we were talking about energy disbursement amongst other living beings. That includes plants, and it'll reflect around us in plants, animals, and people. Then I went to topics that were both really truly believe that they're correct. Yeah, Sorry. I mean,
Right.
I did jump on you. It's okay. Sorry.
No, I like to take in a lot of information. I like to multitask, so that's. And I keep up with your channel too, so it's all good. I appreciate it. It's no problem. I
Thank
do
you.
that myself, because we're thinking, we're putting things together. That's what it's about, and we're talking to each other about it. Um, and what was I saying? I forgot what.
You
That happens too.
you said earlier you were talking about the theories of simulation
Yeah.
and then okay, that's when I so
Okay.
you
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
okay.
I appreciate it. No, it's no problem. Yeah. So you're saying earlier about the simulations. I'm happy you did bring that up. And then so now we're talking about this. I think it's all together. Um, so if it's a simulation, is it possible that, like you said, if you think things, it'll be that for you, right? So are you saying that
Without doubt.
if this now, I know you didn't say that it's actually a simulation, but I'm saying that that's one of the theories that people have, and I think that's what you were saying as well.
Hmm.
And so I'm just saying that if it makes sense that it could be some type of simulation or nothing is real, only it's real based on what you think about it, I guess, right? Or what is the real thing? Um, okay, so if you're thinking that that's an apple, but is it really an orange? But it's an apple to you. What is the real thing when somebody else could look at that and say, "Hey, it's a plum," and it's a plum to them. So what is the real deal?
And who's
If
to
that
say
sounds logical.
that my yellow, when I see yellow, is the same yellow that you see? You know what I mean? Even colors. Colors can be different, depending on the perspective of the sovereign, unique being that is perceiving. What I'm saying is, when when it comes to how we should treat one another, and we know that everything comes from energy, we should always try to, and which you brought up earlier, keep our thoughts into captivity and to be thinking high things of one another, or take that time to go take a walk and cool down. It's okay to get angry and to purge all that out. It's when we hold on to it that we can cause that steady stream, and we don't want to do a steady stream. One little box of photonic energy hitting you where somebody's mad at you for a second can be really easily transmuted, and then you just go on. It's not going to have
Y-
the effects on another divine sovereign. Is if you stay angry and you don't say anything and you hold that in and just fester in it, since that steady stream.
What?
I do feel, however, there's certain things in our life that for us we anchor, like your home, or your where how you put your furniture. Now I do think some subtle things can happen in our home, like you put your keys in the same place every day and all of a sudden you go to pick up your keys and they're not there because you just shifted. But there are things that help to keep our awareness and keep us balanced and anchored. I do believe that there is that phenomena that we ourselves put in place, so that way we don't, lose our mind, I guess, or we stay balanced. But as for everything else, like the skies, you know, uh, secret societies. I think that video dropped. I think I timed it to drop this morning sometime. On the secret societies, I brought up five five of the secret societies, but in truth, they try to sound confusing in that each of them are so different from one another, but actually, they all work under the same umbrella, and what they know who and what we are, whether they do it through swearing oaths or whatever of secrecy. We're sharing now openly with one another without swearing any kind of an oath of any secrecy. And it's not anything to fear these groups. When we fear different things, then we will manifest a reason to fear such things. We don't need to fear um, any kind of I guess it would be an organization or anything of that nature, because the only power that it has is what we give it through energy. Everything starts with the baseline of energy, even when we hand over our sovereignty or we create what we see by um, what you talked about earlier. What you're watching on the television then starts to manifest within your reality. Or we think that they have laser weapons, and since we think it, we believe it, we're not doubting it, so then we're given that power, and then therefore helping to create it, when we're coming into a time of such hyper awareness that all that stuff's just going to dissolve. It's not going to matter anymore, because we are the ones that give it power, and they know that. And when we stop giving it power, and it won't affect us. It's just that it's I say simple. It's really not simple. This journey is not for the faint of heart. We have to let go of a lot of things that we once thought to be fundamentally true, to come in and have the truth just be poured into us. But my truth can be different than your truth. My perception can be different than your perception. And when I say truth, I mean in that manner. But fundamental truth is, the fundamental truth that resides within each of us is that we have every gift, and we're born with it, and we're all equals. We all take part on a quantum level and putting in a little piece into what is manifest out onto the world stage. So, but other, so that is the one truth. That's the one truth that is true beyond, any shadow of turning. We're unconditionally loved, and we are all equal, no matter if we are considered the prodigal child that's running off and living lasciviously, or we're the good son that was jealous when the prodigal came back, and regained his senses and came back, and the robe and the ring was put upon his finger and the fatted calf, and they had a feast at his return. That's the things, when we look at those parables, they're very telling. The jealous son was in the wrong. The one that went and spent his inheritance was in the wrong. But did he truly spend his inheritance? He went out, he had his experiences, and he came back home. He realized the errors in his way. So when he came home and everything was given to him in equal portions for his brother, the brother then showed his jealousy. And so he needed to be humbled and be accepting of his brother. So that's the one fundamental truth, that there is no shadow of turning in, is that everything that we have, everything that's within us, is within every single avatar, being, soul, having their experiences here. But how we perceive this place can be very, very true for me one way, and very, very true for you another way. And who am I to dispute your affirmations, because mine are different?
Right. That's right. Yeah.
So go on with the I call the simulation and all of that, I call that kind of like a hypothesis, not quite a theory. Theory would be, more something that's had a lot of testing done on it, and it's not quite fact. But a hypothesis is the idea of, that it could be, and we're discussing it and we're looking into it, something to think about or ponder on when you're looking at the scientific method. You have to be able to have repeated and think about that, how this place really is meta. Think about this. This place is so fantastic that we can each be having a unique experience, and they could be completely opposing, but both be absolutely true. Okay, so how how can you run any kind of tests? I think I released the mind exercise. It was called placebo and mind over matter, or taking control of our mind, or something of that effect, where they were trying to test medications, and the placebo had equal or better results than the actual medication on healing people from whatever it was that they suffered from, that medication was made for. How do you explain such things?
I don't know. It probably goes into what you were saying. It's like what you think, what you believe. That's how things are for you. You believe you're taking the right. You believe you're taking the medicine that works for you, and it's not. It's only water in the pill.
Sugar pills.
Then
Yeah.
it's possible.
The
Yeah.
sweet to the taste.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And that's what they
Yep.
they mentioned, that when on those, you'll always see source articles. If any of them interest you, just click on the source article and birdwalk. Go deeper and deeper and deeper into the research. I do the research, and then I will pick an article that is short enough to explain in like a broad strokes, so that way it'll gives people the first base, and that's where I'll share from. That doesn't mean that's all I looked at. No, no, no. It just means that was the one that covered the most ground without being too terribly long to express the information. And I wanted to say, Rhea, you know what? I don't see anything outside of God. Everything here is designed so perfectly, so uniquely, and each of us being a child, given the very breath of life, with every tool and ability within each of us, and how God has nothing but unconditional love for us, and there's no shadow of turning. Perfect light, perfect love. I have to agree with what you said. That is beautiful. Hey, preliminal. Hey,
Yep. Make sure you hug a tree.
hug that tree. You don't have to hug a tree. I just touched a branch on one of my. It was like one of my. I think it was one of my rose bushes, and it looked withered and dried out, and like it was gonna, go. And I just touched the leaf on it. I said, no, no, no. You're not gonna go. You're
Yeah.
beautiful. You're gonna bloom. And then I didn't think nothing of it. And a few days later, we went out, and it was all green and full and blooming. I was like,
Yeah.
things like that is just a thought, and it just happened, and it's just an amazing place.
Right.
There's somebody in the
Love
room, and
love a tree today.
I know that if you've been to Hebrew's place, and you know how to do this, right? I'm gonna do a quick channel shout out real quick, and then when I get to a certain name, you gotta you'll know what to do when I get to it. Okay, let's see.
Well, I'm not on this channel all the time, so I don't know exactly what it is.
No, you've been over to the other one, the other place we were talking about earlier. Let me try and scroll up to where. Okay, we've got Dead GPK, Brenda Mitchell, Michael Fontaine. Hello, Michael Fontaine. You're supposed to say Michael Fontaine?
Oh, I don't know. Michael Fontaine?
There you go. And it's Michael Fontaine. What? Okay. Propagate this light.
What? He's in here? He's in here right now? What?
Yeah, he's like by location. He's like one of those type of guys. I don't want to miss anybody, but I don't want to be repeating. I'm just scrolling down. Ria, beautiful Ria, is here.
What up?
Okay, and did she Kagan and da 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 da.
What's up?
I know
Patrick Glass.
preliminal. Uh,
Patrick is in the house.
Patrick, oh, and Vision in Christ, who has been a channel member for. She's coming up on her 3rd month, so, or his 3rd month, and I think it's a her. I really do, and
Yeah.
I want to say, thank you so much, because
Right.
everything counts, everything helps. Okay, back to
Right.
simulation and matrix hypothesis and reality and
Mhm.
right left paradigm and who's right, who's wrong. Can they both be right? Can they both
Right.
be wrong? Perception,
Mhm.
imagination.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all perception. I mean, money. Somebody calls him Money back 73 one time, but it's all good. Money back 73. He says it all the time. You know, with the see what you want videos, hear what you want. Excuse me.
Hmm.
And we could be hearing different things with those listening to that audio. So it's kind of like what we were thinking, and I noticed that when people do videos like that, I've seen other ones like that. They will tell you ahead of time what they hear other than what's being said, I guess, and then you end up hearing it too.
Yeah, front loading. If they don't front load you and just allow the experiment to take place, you'll get a different result.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Right. So when somebody's on the telly saying stuff like this and that, and they just keep pushing it, it's very easy to see the world. If it's things are like you say, um, it's easy to see the world that way. And I kind of believe that as well. That's why I said you have to watch what you're watching, and you also have to go within yourself to clean up yourself as well, because you could fall for the bait easy and not even realize it until it's the last moment.
Well,
So
don't we all? At some point in our life, didn't we all?
yeah, exactly. I'm not saying I'm perfect. That's what I was saying about perfect. Like I've been through it, and I'm going through certain things now, even now, right?
But why
And
would you?
so
Why would you be imperfect? You've always been perfect. But I'm saying is, we all went through the process, and even those who choose to not, to choose to stay in the forgetting to remember, they're still equal, and they're loved unconditionally from the perception or perspective of the creator. You've been perfect from the moment you were becoming formed or knitted together in your mother's womb. Perfect. It's we seem to, as people, put standards on things, but who are we truly trying to please? Who's supposed to be the
okay, well,
first one?
mhm,
First,
right,
yeah, you love God, but there's nothing outside of God. And then self love. You can't love another until you know how to love yourself. If you think you're
mhm,
imperfect or you're flawed, how are you loving yourself? It is a growth process, and I'm not trying to keep correcting you. I'm not. That's not how this conversation is meant to be going, and I'm hoping people aren't perceiving it that way, because that's not what's going on. I'm not correcting him. What I'm saying is, we all start somewhere, but when you start to go through this awakening, don't think for a moment that any time before hand that you were not perfect, that you were not already, you already had everything operating within you, you just were not aware. I had to learn this stuff, and the only reason that I even mention it is because uh, these things clicked on. And with the Christian upbringing, no, I couldn't find anybody like how we have our channels now, Meta, or Propagate This Light is his actual channel name, uh, how that talk about such phenomena as this. The only people that I could even find that even talked about that the gifts were for today were harsh taskmasters. Like they heaped and steeped on to me that I was a dirty, rotten sinner from birth. That all of these carnal things, and I took upon myself things that were not, they were not put upon me as the awareness was opened up. I, with my free will, was trying to seek that I cannot be the only one going through this, because it was like I felt like what do they call that, like the black duck or the odd duck, or I didn't, besides my husband, I didn't want to tell anybody what the heck was going on, because I thought they would think I was freaking crazy. So I saw after, and they were the only ones teaching on the gifts, and man, it weighed me down. It was like putting that millstone, and I just sank and crashed and burned big time. And it took me a long time to get freed from that, to get untangled from the tangling that I put myself in. So that's why. So it's not like I'm trying to talk over or correct. I just don't want people to ever think for a moment that, regardless if you're in the remembering to forget, you're operating in all of these things and always have been. When we become aware, then we can focus and be more thoughtful, in how we are managing the energy that manifests and into others' life. And the more aware that we are, actually, the more strength, because the more intention goes in, because we're more focused and we are more self-aware. But it doesn't take away from the equality, the unconditional love that's poured into you from when, like I said, you were knitted in your mother's womb. We all make mistakes, or we all have what we would call regrets. That's what we chunk into the sea of forget. We don't want to carry that burden around. You gotta set down that luggage and allow that love and light and truth just to flow through and through. So don't think that I'm trying to correct you. I don't want you to think, that you were anything, or that anybody else is anything but perfect. They may be confused, but they're still perfect. Sorry about my dog. Baxter.
No, that's okay. I know that he's telling your information to his friends. He's breaking it down in dog language.
Hey, Doc. So you can continue. Don't, and like I said, I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to correct. I just don't want you to think that way about yourself, because you're.
No, good. So let me. Okay. Yeah. No, it's okay. I appreciate it. No, I'll rephrase that then. If you were to look at my life, then I wouldn't expect anyone to say that, oh, he lived a perfect life or whatever, because from their perspective,
you don't know how other people see you. You don't know. None of us do.
Right. Well, going through life, if I'm no different than anybody else, you may have a person there or a moment there where a person say, hey, that person did something wrong, or that person said something wrong that I didn't like, or, like you said, being in a relationship, you have arguments, like I said, from the other person's perspective, you're wrong, and then you're trying to say, well, no, I'm right, or whatever the case is. But I feel that if it was perfect, then maybe it wouldn't be any of the back and forth. But then again, like we're saying, in a relationship is two people and their perception.
A lot of the times, have you noticed that whenever a confrontation comes up, it is just exactly what you said. I'm right, you're wrong. Somebody is trying to control the narrative or control the other, and they're getting angered and frustrated. So when we let go of wanting control over others and just minding what we do, tending to what we can control, what can we control? We can control ourselves. We don't have the right to oppress, shame, or judge any other. It's just us. I only have control over me, and I don't want to have control over anybody else, because I don't have that. I don't have that right. I don't have the right to judge anybody else. I don't know. And it matters not on, I look at each decade of our life as like a chapter in a book. You know, you go through certain things between 0 and 10, and then between 10 and 20, we get a little more risque and we feel like we're invincible. And we may go and party and we may experiment, we may do things. Even in my first chapter between 0 and 10, um, I may have stolen some bubble gum or a piece of candy at the convenience store. I mean, if I sat there and just dwelled on everything that I felt that was wrong, I would not be able to come to the conclusion that we're pure love and that we need self love to love another unconditionally, and that and also come to the acknowledgement that the creator of this place unconditionally loves and every one of us. So sometimes we need to acknowledge and purge. Chuck it. Just chuck it. It doesn't matter. If people are judging from your history, um, that's no good. How are you in the now moment? It's always a constant now moment. So it's where you're at now. How are we treating others now? Forget the past. Let that go. Can't change it. Can't do anything about it. And others, I can guarantee you, don't remember it. They're not dwelling or harping on any of the things that you're probably thinking on yourself. I know from my own experiences on that one. So, this is food for thought.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we make mistakes, you know. Um, and it's about where you're at now. It's not about where you were. It's about where you're at. Quite like what you just said, you
Mhm.
know. But I don't want to hold the call. I know you're taking calls in. Did you want?
It'll hold up to 5 calls. So
Oh
just
yeah,
because you're on the
that's right.
phone, I'll
Oh,
hear
that's
them
right.
beep in. So,
Okay,
nobody else is called. I mean, they're welcome to. Um,
okay,
but
okay. Yeah,
otherwise,
that's right.
we're having a heck of a conversation. So people
Cool.
seem to be
Yeah,
chatting with one another and having a good time and participating. So, you know,
yeah, yeah.
we'll hear them.
Okay, cool. That'll work. I
Hmm.
can hang out with you a little bit longer. That's all good.
Yeah, yeah. We could do a show together or something. I know I'm going to do one with my Skies 5D soon, and um,
Mhm.
when I do them on StreamYard, I'm not as picky. If I'm gonna have like 3 participants, it's actually
Mhm.
harder for us to stay on camera and to live stream. So we may have you and
Mhm.
one other come on, but we'll have to be, we could pop on camera for a second or two, but then use our icon, stay on icon mode or emoji or whatever
Yeah,
they're called. So, yeah,
right.
if you're interested, that is.
Of course, definitely. I always watch your show. I always watch your streams. Definitely, I'll be honored to be on your stream.
You're on it now.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I can't believe it, but yeah, I'm here. You know. But yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
okay, Doc, the uh, Dark Night of the Soul, 3 Days of Darkness. This this picture of my dad. My dad saw that somebody put this banner up in a subway, so he took a picture of it for me and gave it to me. Just kidding. He made it for me, and I put this background up because my dad made it for me. Number one, it's cool. Number two, it's kind of like let's hang out in Subway and talk about things. It has nothing. It does has nothing to do with the show is about. Um, and we lost my brother today, so in honor of my dad who made this for me, I'm a blended family. My mom had 4 and my dad had 2, and then my dad has since adopted me, so I am fully his now. And so my brother from another mother passed away today. He's about my age and started with a fall in the garage, and So, there's levels of depth to the background that I chose. So,
Oh, okay. So my condolences to you. Definitely my condolences to you.
and now my dad is kind of going through what I'm going through, the loss of a child. When it's out of order like that, it doesn't matter how old your child is. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No,
It doesn't.
it has no impact. It's whether it was a newborn 3 year old, 5 year old. My daughter was 27, and
Hmm.
and his son before him. It's out of order, and it really knocks people for a loop. I mean, it really does. The phone number, guys, is down on the bottom, scrolling across. Doc Michaels can post it in the chat, and I'll hear the little toot toot when you come in. So, anybody else wants to call in, they're definitely welcome to. So, but otherwise, now I think we have caught up, Doc, on the background, and yeah, this one
So
was
the
made by my daddy.
okay. So the dark night of the soul. Is that does that last 3 days of darkness? Three
It
days of darkness.
Some
3 days
people
of darkness. So the day turns into dark. The
no.
light goes
It,
away. Oh, go ahead.
it's actually a video. It was actually a video I made. That's that he used. He put a thumbnail that I used on a video where it talks about um, the period that we go through, which we are letting go of everything that we once thought was true, and it's been called 3 days of darkness, or 3 days in the grave, like Christ and he was resurrected, or others will call it the dark night of the soul. It's when we are letting go of things we're cleaving to, because they're not true. They're not in the truth, and so we have to let go of anything that we once thought we knew, to allow the truth to come flooding in and get take that space. So and a lot of times it can seem pretty shocking, just like when people realized that this place was changing, like with the Mandela effect. A lot of people got shocked or scared, and curled up in a corner for 3 or 4 days, going, what? You know what I mean? It's pretty shocking when you first comes to your awareness that this place is not exactly what we once thought it to be, and then to let go of things that we once thought to be true is the so the 3 days is, it's like a symbolic number of unlimited amount of time, like how in the Bible 40 days and 40 nights. It's actually an undetermined amount of time. So it takes each of us different amounts of time to come to the self awareness within us of who we are, where we are, what we're doing here, what's going on here, and what we're experiencing. So that's an actual
Hmm.
video that was made, and that's the title of it. But it's a oldie but goodie. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. So that's where you got it from.
In the in regards to perception and experience, do you think that there is something that feeds off of negative energy, and through their perception, that's their food, and
They would have to be pretty parasitic. They would have to be really, really low to feed off of that. Um, Sometimes people whom are in pain, excruciating pain, or are miserable, will send out, because of the good old saying, misery loves company. So by seeing somebody else in turmoil, it actually makes their life not look so bad. Do you know what I'm saying? So I mean, but you'd have to really be downtrodden to be at that level to find pleasure in somebody else's failures, or harming another, or watching somebody stumbling around, and getting pleasure out of it. So
Yeah.
it's
Uh,
that's where
yeah.
I would
The
see that.
okay. I guess what I was saying was, like you said, parasitic. Do you think that it's something that's not human?
No,
That's parasitic.
no, everything comes from consciousness into energy, from thought form and intentions, and from our heart, and then it goes and manifests. We have anchor manifestations so we can stay grounded, and then we have the energy or the photonic light that we send to one another. It's a dance that we do here with one another. And even those that feel, that way, and that's the only way they can seek any kind of peace in their life, it's still a dance that we do with them, and it's still an experience. And it does not take away from their equality from of anybody else. Everybody here is equal. Does that make sense? we
Yeah, definitely.
we
Yeah.
can't we one thing we
Yeah.
I know we need to stop doing is blaming something outside of ourselves for the decisions and actions that we take. I'm not going to say, and I went over and I got angry with somebody or I was frustrated with somebody. The devil made me do it. I'm not going to outsource, when I've done something wrong. I'm going to take responsibility and I'm going to correct it. I'm going to, learn from it, expand, grow from that experience, and do my darndest to not repeat it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Some banks don't even give that much credit. So yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's like
What?
you're always blaming somebody else or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, how is that going to? How are we going to learn and grow? We were taught to outsource. We were taught to outsource and wait for Jesus to come in on the clouds. Okay, it's called Christ. Now Jesus, his name was Yeshua, the Mashiach. So he was, like the Savior. He came to do away with the law of Moses, nail that to the cross, and then show people that there's a new way, because nobody was getting in. Even Moses himself couldn't go into the promised land. If people, Christian-based people, they know these fundamental biblical stories. They know that Christ, or not Christ, that Moses did not enter the promised land. And there was an excellent question brought up the other day about um, that Christ did. I thought it was, did Christ baptize? And but actually it was Christ was baptized. Well, Yeshua, Jesus. But when he walked up to John, whom was the baptizer, here, just wash away your sins, trying to make it an easier way, trying to, do, like, I would call it like baby steps in preparation for the truth to be, given out and for people to be ready to receive it. So when Yeshua, or we know as Jesus, walked up, John said, "Oh no, I'm in need of a baptism from you." And then Jesus said, "No, let it be so for now. Like, you do this, baptize me as you have been doing," as he's been proclaiming, prepare the way of the Lord, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. All right. And then when Christ, or Jesus, he went around and he picked up his disciples. And then when he was teaching, he didn't baptize. And then at the end, after he was resurrected, he told, Mary Magdalene, "Do not touch me, I have not ascended to the Father." He was at the 33 years old, 33 vertebrae. He was in the grave where it rests for 3 days. and he had not yet, that oil had not shot up and had that awakening up to the Father or God within, the Godhead, or his divine. Christ, I believe, was divine, an especially exquisite, divine. I would have to say mastery of truth. He's the truth, the light, and the way. Okay. So when he told Mary, don't touch him yet, well, that has to do with, like, what I found with the hieroglyphs. You can't, no matter what your energetic urges are, you must abstain until it shoots up, and then that aha awakening, which will feel like what Christ promised, that he goes away so he could send help, in the form of the Holy Spirit. People would look at it as a Holy Spirit baptism, and then you progress along from there, learning, growing, and gleaning. And if that is the structure of your belief, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, because that's I use the Bible. The Bible is where I got confused with our taskmaster, but the Bible and Jesus, the Christ, which Christ, it means anointed, anointing oil, anointed. So led me out of it, okay? But we all have the ability for the anointing on our life. We are anointed. We are already doing these things. So if we're outsourcing it and saying we're going to wait for him to come crashing through the sky to fix every problem with mankind, why? If you're Christ and you already did your teaching, it's out there. It's still readily available for anybody that is willing to receive it. He'll also stand with you in the other realm and walk you through it and bring you to all truth. When we have everything within us, why does he need to come crashing through and war and all that? It's again outsourcing responsibility. So we stay stagnant and comfortable in our recliners and our boob tube, waiting for something else outside of ourselves to come in and rescue us. And everything we need, again, is within us. We're equipped. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, we have the powers within us, and that, and according to what you were saying about that, I was thinking this a couple of days ago as well. Is that, oh, actually, I was thinking about this a couple of days ago, but I thought about this before. We are we are God's children, and you were saying earlier that a person that knows that they are energy, I think you said, then you could make better decisions. But there's some people that don't know who they are, and they may still feel that they are God's child. And I would say to that person that if you're God's child, it would make sense to me anyway that you have some of God's abilities as well, just like you have some of your mother's or your father's you have a part of them in you. It makes sense to me that you have a part of God in you as well, and you have these spiritual abilities.
Mm-hmm. We're just not aware of it. We've all been at that area, and we realize that, oh my gosh, we've been doing this our entire lives and we just weren't aware of it. It's in our nature, and then we experience it, and then through projections we were then manifesting something that would be a top tier whatever level system of the haves and the have-nots. Well, as we're becoming more self-aware, and we all know that the power resides within each of us equally, we're trying to send out with energy and of equality, because that's the truth. Regardless of what awareness, doesn't matter when we're talking about the truth of the equality that is in each and every single person. Doesn't matter if you're awake. or it doesn't matter if you're asleep, if you're remembering to forget. What matters most is what's your heart. If you're doing by nature what is good, if you're loving your children, if you're loving your family, if you're providing, you're filled with love and laughter, and you know, who are we to say anything? This the awareness and awakening is not something that we try to. Uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Bring people into or recruit into. Either we're going through it or we're not. It's our choice. But by having other places and platforms talking about these things, it sure does make it a lot easier when we've made the choice to wake up, to get affirmations, confirmations, and lift each other up as we're going through it. Because I won't sugarcoat it. It's hard work. You know, it gets easier. Don't get me wrong, but you know, still some things happen throughout. You know, the experiences that we have, because we don't have control over others. Experiences that we have that do affect us, that can break our heart. You know, we're still here. We're still having our experiences, but nothing takes away the equality, awake or asleep, flat earth or globe earth. It's your imagination, you experience, and you get affirmations on those things, so both can be right. So why should we argue? You know, but yeah, awareness, being self-aware, learning to self-love, learning to stop doubting or looking in the mirror and only seeing flaws. Us ladies are really bad about that. We will, you know, we'll look in the mirror and that's all we see is every flaw, and we have to learn to love, no matter what avatar we're in, to unconditionally love ourselves. Not to the point of conceited love, but to the point of love in order to be able to love somebody else unconditionally and fully and just, you know, wholeheartedly love another. If we don't love ourselves, are we just being in a relationship of convenience or pacify or comfort? I'd rather choose the love. It's so much richer than anything you know. Love is one of the beautiful gifts that keeps us moving forward. It's amazing.
Right. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I was just kind of reading the chat too.
Yeah, I am now. What was Doc was saying goodnight to you. Why was he saying goodnight to you? Were you going night night?
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
you're on the phone, so you know, if you say goodnight and you're done or whatever, and nobody's called in by then, I'll just zip it up. Um, but I didn't see where Doc was saying that. He was saying goodnight, and I gotta say, Doc is deep, Pre is deep. I mean, you guys that come here, did GPK. I mean, I just love you guys so much because you share. Michael Fontaine. Oh my gosh, he blew my mind the other night. I have such respect for him. He's just, you know, there's just so many, and you guys, everybody's so unique and so wonderful in their own way, and in their own, not in their own way, in like in your own way, in your own unique way. It's just put a lot.
right, right. And my unique way is not saying goodnight on the chat first and being on the call, but I appreciate that. No, he actually said goodnight to me. If you scroll up a little bit, he said goodnight to me first. You know, saying goodnight to him.
Oh, well, like there's like a 4 second delay, and I think he was probably hearing you say, "Well, you know, I'll let you go ahead and take the next caller," and you know, there isn't another caller, so you're, I'm gonna stay on. So, Doc is like super fast, like
Hmm.
posting links and like, you know, answering. I don't know. He's like He's like a super a supersonic wrench wrench holder. Mm-hmm. That's him.
Mhm.
He's awesome
Yeah, I like
sauce.
the conversation you had. Right, I like the conversation you had with him. He has a good presentation.
Hmm. Yeah, and he presents so clearly, and he's had so many experiences that and affirmations in his life, and you know, treasure. There's a treasure in each of us. The pearl of great price is in everybody equally, equally.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, so what did you want to talk about with the simulation and like the matrix? Hey, it's 11:11. 1 1 1 1
Hmm.
1 1.
11:11. What does that actually mean?
I look at those as gateways, but I also saw that on my
Oh,
transcript. I don't think Doc got to hear when I was talking about my transcript, but I'll tell him about it later because I've seen it again, and so I'll talk to him about it later. Unless he
okay. Well, the
calls
whole
me.
simulation thing. I don't have much to say. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if simulation is not something that I came up with, and you know that already. I'm just saying. I took that word from hearing it a lot within the community. Simulation, and then you look into it a little bit more to see if it resonates with you. As far as the information. I'm not sure. I am familiar with the holodeck on Star Trek. I've always wondered. What if I'm in that? Something similar to that. What if we're all in something similar? When somebody says that we're on a different planet, in a different location and all these different things, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if things are the way they are because we're in a simulation. I'm not saying that we are. I don't know what's going on. Um, but I'm leaning more towards that maybe we are bouncing to different realities, and instead of saying that things are changing, it's probably us that's in a different in a different place. That's why we are noticing different change, different things.
Mm-hmm. And it's I wouldn't think of it as going to like a different reality. I think, or I'm sorry, a different planet. I
A
think
different, yeah.
from my perspective, and you know what, there's nothing wrong. Your observation is valid because there's no right way to eat a pizza. You can eat it crust first, or you can eat it from the thin side first. Whatever, it's all in our observation and from what as we grow. I tend to look at this place as like a realm of infinite possibilities and probabilities that we through the energy exchange and manifestation, we create different things that we go through that can actually
Mhm.
look like a simulation because I
Mhm.
can be walking and seeing flowers and beautiful bushes, green bushes, field and plush and everything. But I could be walking and
Mhm.
the person across the street from me can be seeing a drought or lack
Mhm.
or you see what I'm saying? So we could be having two completely opposite perceptions. We're not talking about it with each other. They're just seeing what they're seeing and I'm seeing what I'm seeing. But who's to say that their perception's wrong and mine's right or that mine's wrong and theirs right? It's what we
Okay.
perceive. It's personal. It's affirmations that we get. And then on the quantum level, which means quantum means actually, I don't know if people quite understand. Quantum means small, tiny, like the size of a cell in a human body. Think of the human body as being this realm. And each of us as a cell, that's inside of a human body. That's the effect that each of us will have on what we would see on what we would call the world stage. You see what I'm saying? So as we get more, but again, that brings back into play one who is self-aware can put 1,000. So now you're not just one cell; you're 1,000 cells in this body. And then if you got another one next to you, now that two could put 10,000. And if you're going through and having affirmations and for abundance and no lack and equality, blah blah blah. Okay, and then if you get three, how I see it is you just keep adding a zero, and that's how many more cells, I guess, that using the human body as this realm and how we affect it on a quantum level, that that's the power of influence that we would have. We don't need to have media. We don't need to force it, through the radio or flicker rates or subliminal or any of that. We're in this awareness that is so keenly aware that that stuff doesn't even work on us anymore. We can watch it and know, we can enjoy a movie and not manifest that movie into a reality because we're hyper aware that it's entertainment. So we look at it as entertainment, where somebody who may not be quite aware of their divineness and their equality, because this is all happening regardless whether we're aware of it or not, can be doing like what you said earlier. They can be creating either something that scared them that they saw on TV or something that is beautiful that they seen on TV. So, and the only thing that I find that is the most damaging thing on television is the news. Because people will listen to the news and believe it hook, line, and sinker. And I think everything is up for debate. Especially when I saw that lady put up the freaking caution tape on the fence, and then the guy with his cell phone recording her with her cameraman, and then she's like reporting news in front of caution tape that she put up herself. There was nothing going on. And this other guy's over there with his cell phone recording her, putting her little scene all together, and then breaking news. That, that pretty much burst my bubble right there from listening to any kind of news nonsense.
Right, right. And speaking of television, I'm getting kind of bent, when people say, "Oh, television tell lies to your vision," and I'm like, wait a minute. And I understand it, but it's like it's not pronounced tell; it's pronounced tella. It's a whole different word, right? Mm-hmm. And I would tell a person to research what tella means, Tele.
And
yeah, I heard you mention television earlier. I just wanted to throw that out there.
well, share. You're the etymologist. You shared the human. Now I looked up human. I did look up human, and I looked up hue again, and it did say hewn down again. But it did have the other. It has words have so many different meanings. I mean, it's astounding. I really enjoyed that share that you did that night, saying that Hugh was what? What did you say? That human.
Right. Some people say, yeah, and that's the thing. I'll answer that real quick, but in response to that as well, that's why I was saying about television. People are saying it's tell, like Tell,
Mm-hmm.
tell lies to your vision. But it's actually tella. It's a whole different word. So you're like creating things. But anyway,
So what does tella mean?
Thing with, yeah, tella. And then so you said human. When I've asked people that question, what does the HU mean? They always say it means color. HUE is related to color, not HU. But yeah, it's all good. I try to research things like you said.
Well, I had to put an E on it to break it down. To human, from human to hue, to find out what the hue, as starting and then man, and so it was the HUE, and it did have, that was one of the definitions, was a shade, to shade. The other is to hue down, and the other was what you shared. So it had three meanings that were completely different, completely. One's like a hewing down of a tree, or hewing down as to, control you, put into subjection. One, and the other is talking about color, And that other
Hmm.
was what you shared. And I'm not going to repeat it. I'm going to let you repeat it because it's your share. I mean, you shared it, and so if you, and I do want to know what you think tele means, or are you saying that it's like tell a vision? So somebody is telling a vision by writing down a movie or whatever, a vision that they saw from their imagination, and they're telling a vision.
Well, I do understand that that's why people say that because it sounds like how you pronounce it. It sounds like you're saying tell la vision.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like you're saying tell, but it's actually tella,
Mm-hmm.
tella, you know. But it
What?
means far off. Like when you think about a telegram, is the same word. But tele means far off. Operating at a distance. So when you think about the waves hitting the TV or whatnot, television.
And like we've been talking about more self-aware. You can enjoy a movie. You can enjoy your music. Those things won't affect you. It doesn't affect. It doesn't affect the same way that it did before, when we weren't self-aware. So there are benefits for going through the journey. There are benefits, but at the same time, it does not make you better than anybody else, because everybody is equal. No matter how we feel or judge another being. Um, that's why we're told not to do that. We're told not to judge others because we don't know enough, number one, about each other's entire life to place any kind of judgment on anybody. So, and also, another is a lot of times we're our own worst judge because we're so freaking hypercritical. And let's say you've had a best friend, because I've had friends since I was in childhood, and they're still really good friends today. And there's stuff that we did, or maybe we got into a argument or whatever. They don't even remember it, but I'll remember it because I will, feel bad, or but they don't. So why am I holding on to something that they've long let go of? You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's like um, sometimes we just need to release it. Just don't hold on to old baggage. Just be the best version of ourselves as we know ourselves to be in this now moment, because the past really doesn't exist. The future doesn't exist. We're just now. It's just now.
Mhm. Mhm. And what we see on TV is telepathic. They're putting you have products telepathic. So they mentioned telepathic in here. So since we know what tele means, and it's kind of off kilter to what you were just saying. I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to address this real quick. But when
Fine,
you
just go for it.
okay, so yeah, so now that we know what tele means, I'm just kind of responding to the chat a little bit. What does pathic mean then? As in telepathic, pathic meaning a certain condition or a way that you feel. So I guess that means that we're sending those vibes, I guess. And that's what we call telepathic.
And we often talk
Um,
about it being a narrow path because if we're the only ones on it. Telepathic, telepathic thought,
tele-
projection, intentions on a pathway with a direction.
mhm.
What was your definition?
Right. For which word? Pathic?
Yeah, yeah, pathic.
I think like feeling a certain way or a certain condition of feeling, the way that you feel, I guess. Something like that.
Okay, so that kind of goes up. What if, well, I guess ick wouldn't have its own. Because sometimes things are added to words to emphasize other words or for enunciation. Or maybe it stems from a word from another language um, that, may have a different uh, meaning to it. Like I said, when I did the one wordplay, when I was going through each of those words, they would have so many different definitions that were completely different and unique. But the word, enunciation, pronunciation, spelling, everything is the same. Some of the
Right.
words were actually both nouns and verbs.
Hmm.
You know, the language is confusing, but intention is not,
Hmm.
because we're constantly flowing in intention.
Right. Yeah. I was laughing at telepathetic. Somebody put that in the chat.
I know, Doc did.
Telepathetic.
Uh, yeah, what we see on TV is pathetic.
Oh,
Yes, it
yeah.
really is, especially when it comes to the north, east, west, and south. That's the part that
Mm.
I think is really the most dangerous. Other things like little sitcoms and things of that nature, pretty harmless. You know, but the last thing for people, to be able to let go of, is the north, east, west, and south portion that is put out on those boxes. So I do
Hmm.
recommend fasting from television and even radio, um,
Hmm.
and just because I did, it was, gosh, it was well over a year. My husband's like, should I just call and shut this stuff off? Why are we paying for it? Because you're not watching it and I'm not watching it. And I was like,
Mm.
no, no, because we may use it again. So we paid for all these like HBO and all these channels, and we weren't even watching it. But with that, we were able to clean our temple out. In between our temples, get our
Mm.
mind cleaned up and cleared up, starting to being able to think more clearly. Hmm?
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of gets me when somebody's like, "Okay, what do you want to watch?" And it's like, "Wait, like, let's slow it down. What do I want to watch?" Like, like, okay, so I'm an artist and I like to be create. Like to be creative, so I like to always be creating, and I don't like to sit there all day long watching, watching other people pretend to be other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like authenticity too. I get you. Yeah,
Yeah, but there's
artists
there's
are.
some there's some really good stuff on television. I mean, I'm not saying everything is
Oh, I
I
loved
wouldn't I would
Westworld. So I was back
yeah, yeah.
watch. I don't watch a whole bunch of TV, but I was back watching
Mm.
TV when that started, and I enjoyed watching Westworld because it just brought so much like hints. And I think a lot of people think of this place as a simulation because of some of the things that were put on television. Like Westworld was a simulated world. Everything there
Mhm.
was manufactured, and uh, you know so it was a simulated reality. But I didn't buy hook, line, and sinker into everything. I just found it interesting enough to watch and to see what happened with the characters. If anything, what looked the most like a simulation was this last year's, this last season that just passed. The real world looked more like a simulation than Westworld did. I mean, everything was so plastic and fake and electronic, and yeah, that one seemed really fake. I mean, when you
Mhm.
can, be talking to a holograph and then take a swing, or think you're firing your gun and hitting a person, and they're not even really there. That to me is
Mm.
a simulation.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
think,
yeah. I mean, I
I
go ahead.
think
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I actually want you to talk. Hope you guys don't mind. I'm gonna have a cigarette. I hope it doesn't offend anybody. But we've been on for a couple hours, and uh, we'll keep going until he gets tired, or somebody else calls in, or you know, whatever. Because there's like, I think, what, 17 people, 16, 17 people here. So, um, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll just come off. I'll come off camera for a moment. Yeah, I'll hide myself. I don't like to. I don't like to smoke on camera. I try to keep this as clean as possible. Okay, go ahead with your share.
um, I was just going to say, well, I was going to just erase that, but what I was going to say was, I've seen some programs, programs. But back in the days, back in the days when I was used to watch a lot of TV, um, two interesting programs I really liked, and I got caught up in watching them, and it's hard to turn away, and it's hard to, at least from my opinion, when you're watching, when I was watching the show, you just want to see what's going to happen next, you know what I mean? And you just stuck on it, and then you got to sit through 1,000 commercials, and then you got to listen to what they're saying, um, and then next thing you know, you have a bunch. There's this movie, I forget the name of it, the Last Navigator, or it's a movie that came out in the '80s about a little boy that came across a spaceship, and the spaceship plugged itself, or he plugged himself. He got into the spaceship and he plugged himself into the spaceship somehow, and it read his mind, and he had a whole bunch of commercials and TV shows inside of there, and the spaceship started going crazy, and the spaceship was actually able to. It was actually able to talk, and so it was talking very intelligent at first, and then when it went into that boy's brain, it just had the mind of a, what I guess, an 8-year-old, and it was speaking in commercial lingo and saying things that commercials would say and stuff. So that made me think, like, man, I've been watching television for a long time, like since I was a little kid. So imagine if I'm just still going with that till this day as a grown adult. Imagine how much stuff is in my head. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just a thought. This is one of the thoughts that I think about on my own. Thought I'd share it.
And I mean, think about how many times, um, like, okay, even in the cartoons, the cartoons that we watched with
Hmm.
Wile E. Coyote chasing the Roadrunner, and how many times that Wile E. Coyote would have like a mantle fall, or even Tom and Jerry, these devastating, gross things that we would see, and then they would go right back to being alive and animated again. It's like,
Hmm.
um, what were they trying to say? You know what I mean? The when really, um, as parents, we want our children to be careful and to be safe. We're not going to tell somebody to go, okay, this place, we help create it, but we are also in it together. Go play on the freeway because you can't get hurt, because you create your own reality. Because remember that, yeah, we do, but so does everybody, like the human body example. You're either, you could be a cell, or you could be 1,000, depending on your awareness. And then if you got somebody else thinking along the same lines, then it puts 10,000 or whatever. So, there's anchor things, and I really think that helps us to stay balanced here. And then there are the right left paradigm of, some people can see or observe certain things, and it's a reality, and it's an affirmation. They can affirm it with testings and things like that for them. And then somebody else can have something completely opposite that is affirmed, that they can, back up with affirmations and tests and things like that. And we can't point fingers at each other anymore. We're coming to the point where that kind of stuff, the unity and diversity, the allowing each other to have the experience and the expansion is okay, and the bickering and fighting over, certain belief structures or religions, or anything that we end up um, really wanting to like fight or prove that we're right and somebody else is wrong, to me it almost comes across as a religion or a religious type of paradigm.
Right, right. And that a little bit off kilter again. That movie that I mentioned earlier is called The Flight of the Navigator. It came out in the '80s. The Flight of the Navigator.
Wow. Huh. Can you hold on for just a minute, Meta?
Yes,
I'm just going to put you on hold. I'm going to mute you for just a second. We got another call, but I have a feeling I know who this caller is. So hang on. Hang on.
gotcha.
You're live on Awake and Activate. Who am I talking to?
Oh yeah, my name's Trebek.
Trebek?
Yes, I'm calling from the UK.
Really?
Yep, and I just wanted to say about this the flat Earth debate. The only sort of people who believe that are niggers and faggots.
Okay.
What just happened?
Okay.
I didn't hear any.
You're back. You couldn't hear him?
I mean, I heard him, but the last comment I didn't hear.
Don't
I
worry
couldn't
about
make
it.
it out.
I'm going to bleep it out. Yeah. What was odd to me was it came up with my city, the phone number. So I thought it may have been my boy. But it was a troll call. Hey, you know what? It's not. That's why I told you to hold. Because I got a. It was either going to be a quick call or something was not quite right. So I wasn't going to get rid of a good
Gotcha.
call when.
I,
Yeah. That's what's
I
good
appreciate it.
about
Yeah.
awareness. Awareness. And
Right, right. Did you notice on the? Mhm. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm listening to you, hon.
Oh, did you notice on the screen, Dark Night of the Soul, 3 days of darkness, and right under that it says propagate this light.
I know, right? Isn't that great? Propagate
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
light. And you know what? Yeah, in your name, you're taking ownership. And I love that. I love the responsibility of the light within you that your name projects and projects out. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
I love it. I love it.
Right,
So
right. You know, I'm just trying to learn as I go as well, and just share a little bit of positivity, and hopefully it could um be a lot in somebody else's world. Hopefully it could mean a lot. And it has. Like I was saying earlier, my claim to fame, just to throw that out, this out there, was on Facebook, and I was just doing that on Facebook, and it helped a lot of people. So here I am on YouTube and doing my thing under a different name though, but the name was still Meta on Facebook as well.
well, are you in a Facebook group where you could start sharing your channel and start you know building your audience and
I had a Facebook fan page for my podcast, but what I was doing was using my personal account, and I actually created it not to be a personal account, but to be more of like a personal account where people post their pictures and things like that. It was still a personal account, but I was using it for, I guess you could say, business in a sense. Just reaching out to people and dropping quotes and things like that.
well, you're welcome in my small little space um,
Okay.
under your personal. But I'm gonna say it's a small group, and everybody that's in there is very trustworthy, and they're not nobody will um, nobody there isn't anybody in there that's not in under their authentic name. But we do share when we post videos, and so that we can subscribe to each other, and we can also check out our content. And it's important that you got to share yourself out there in order to Hold on. Okay. Hold on, Meta. Just one moment, okay? We got another caller
Gotcha.
in here. Hold on a second.
Can you hear me?
You're live on Awake and Activate. Who am I talking to?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Who is this?
My name is Ryan.
Ryan?
Yeah,
What's your YouTube handle?
I don't have it. I don't really have a YouTube handle. I mean, I watch YouTube videos. I don't know what that means.
I mean, like, what's your... Do you ever chat in the chats or anything like that? So, like, we would recognize who you are?
No, do you want me to? I can say hi in the chat.
That would be
Here.
awesome, so we know who you are. I see you're in
There.
the four
I just said
6
hi.
sign.
Does that work? Look, it says. Look, I told you it says Ryan. I'm not fucking around.
Okay. Oh, no, what? Oh, this is a PG. We try not to drop the drop bombs.
Are you like on TV or something?
No, but this is family friendly. It's adult conversation, but
understand.
not. Yeah. Okay.
I'm just, I don't know. I hang out with other fucking dudes, and so sometimes I say the F word. You know. I sorry. I didn't mean to cuss.
It's okay.
It-
It's okay. So, what did you call to share? What's going
Well,
on?
I was browsing around YouTube,
Yeah.
and I saw your description.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what the description of your channel is?
What do you mean? Like in the front page?
It's because I wanted to talk about it. It starts with flat/globe.
Oh yeah. Oh, the topic for
You know, like
tonight's conversation.
Yeah,
live, flat,
Is that what the
globe.
topic is? Can you give me the first sentence so we could talk about it? Because I find it very interesting.
Okay. Well, we've been talking about it for a few hours.
No,
Flat-
I'm saying,
flat-
can you read it to me?
Yeah, flat/globe, like two different paradigms, or right versus left, two different paradigms. Is that imagination, perception, experience? Call it in. It's a call-in stream. So what I'm talking about is if somebody's having.
Wait,
an
no, you didn't finish anything. You had perception, and what did it go? And how we
experience call-in
as
stream.
as we project from within our
Oh.
hearts and mind.
So
That's
you're
what I'm reading.
you're down in the description box. I just read the stream.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what I said.
I'll let you
But
in
yeah,
on
go
this
ahead.
one too, Meta.
I'm trying to dissect that. I think you have a very valid point, but I want to question a few things to, have a intellectual conversation.
Sure.
So can you go over what you wrote so we can talk about it, because this is
Well,
your theory.
everybody can read what I wrote, and actually, this is a share show. So whatever you have to share is just as valid as everybody else, because everybody is.
I
equal.
do. I'm ready to share my heart out. All I wanted you to actually not read whatever you were reading and it got cut off. I want to actually read what you wrote, and I only wanted the first sentence. You kind of go on and on with the second sentence, so I don't even want to get into that, and until if we can, but. Just the first one. Read me the first two sentences.
Are you talking in the description
I would
box?
love to talk about it because I digested it and it was a little confusing for me. So all I'm trying to do is just talk to you.
Okay. Ryan,
So can you start from the beginning so we can break it down?
we're talking about intentions.
If you call me Ryan,
For-
what would I call you? Because your channel is called Awake and Activate.
Oh, yeah, you told me to call you Ryan. You said it was Ryan, right?
Yeah, I said that's my name. Yeah, what is yours?
Michelle.
Oh, hi, Michelle.
Hi.
Can I call you Baby Doll every once in a while if I get frustrated?
My name's actually in the description box too, so yeah, I'm not hiding.
Is it,
Um,
so baby doll or Michelle? Which one do you prefer?
Michelle, please. I'm a happily married woman, so he's the only one that can call me
I'm not
pet
hitting on
names.
you.
Okay.
I'm just
Flat.
I'm just saying. I just said if I get frustrated sometimes if I can't think of your name, I say baby doll. You know, it's not an insult.
Uh,
That's all I was saying.
by the way, Meta has been unmuted too, so if he wants to take part in the conversation and add and
I'm
enhance
really
it,
talking to you though.
I understand
I
that,
don't know who
Ryan
this
Vet.
person is, but I'm talking to you. And
Okay,
we can't even get through the first two sentences, so can we proceed with that?
we can if you'll be quiet for a moment. It says flat globe, comma right left, comma imagination, comma perception, comma and how we experience as we project from within our heart and mind. Collectively, how we take part on a quantum level of what is shown via media sources and how it can be very different when our own experience with our own experience then our own experience, sorry, until we're around others. Then we share that
No, I
whatever
just
they're
want to
going
get it
through.
for the first. I look. All I asked you to go from the first two sentences, and just like me, you stumbled on the second one. I was like, "Holy shit, what does this mean?" Like it's very
Well, because you're confusing me
I
because
don't
I
know,
don't know an
esoteric.
angle. I'm trying to. I'm reading a very.
Can this there's a word right.
I'm reading a very, very confusing, controversial energy. You have to calm down, and I will be happy to have a conversation with you, Ryan. Okay? Okay, I'm going to unmute you now. Please be calm, okay? Because talking over one another is not going to get anywhere with what you're trying to ask. You're not giving me a chance to even respond. The conversation.
Yeah, you're good. I'm sorry.
The conversation.
I wasn't trying to be like that.
Is about how we perceive and experience and the affirmations that we have. How can we say that somebody else that's having affirmations and experiences from projections from within them, how can we say that ours is right and theirs is wrong? When
Why would we ever say theirs is wrong?
Exactly. That's the point. Left, right,
If
paradigm.
we're all having different affirmations, what says we all can't be the right one? Because we're all just our own personal thing. You know, it's like a lotto ticket. There's only one winner, but there's a million of the tickets. So how can we all be wrong if we all just are experiencing something different?
It's more like isn't there like 7 billion winner tickets? I don't know what the
I was
population
talking about the
is.
lotto, not the population.
Okay. Well,
But, yeah.
so
Are you making jokes? Because I got a
Yeah,
pretty good sense of humor too.
yeah, I was trying to
I got a joke. I got a joke.
lighten the conversation a little bit. So yeah, because you came on pretty
Okay.
hot and heavy and agitated, and I was like, what have we been
are you
talking about
hitting on
that
me?
was agitating? No, stop it. I'm so glad I'm not on camera.
I didn't
You're
feel
just
that
blushing
vibe.
up.
Like I thought you didn't like me. I'm just a caller. Like I thought you didn't like me. Now we're all hot and heavy.
Oh, okay. Are you a serious caller, or are you just?
I'm serious. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to talk to you.
What would you like to know?
I was talking about your affirmation in the second sentence when you're talking to when you say the quantum level of what is shown. I don't really understand what that means.
Okay, so you weren't here when we talked about if we looked at the Earth or this realm as just as an analogy is the human body, and for each of us that occupy this realm as being a cell in the human body, and at the quantum level on what happens in the world stage, being just a cell in the human body is how much of an impact that we would have that shows up on the world stage of events. But
Are you saying if I was at the beach and I kicked up a pile of sand, all of those pieces of sand might be a movement in a protest that is happening somewhere around the world, or maybe in a parallel universe where something is getting overtaken and that we're just like sand in the ocean, and maybe something we have is impactful, but the other impact doesn't impact what we're actually trying to impact?
No. If you're kicking up sand and having the thought that it's creating a riot or chaos in another, then there's an error in your thinking and in your perception of whom you are.
I'm just trying to understand. I'm trying to understand. Like, I meditate. I try to, like, not drink or smoke. But, I mean, come on, like, you're smoking, right? Ain't nothing like shit, right? Where are you from?
I'm from the same.
Like, do you smoke?
Well, actually, no, you're in Texas. Yes. And there's nothing here that can hurt us. And I also
Yeah, you know I'm
that.
in Texas. I gave you my number. You can't tell me where you're from?
I'm in California. At first, I was going to say we
Oh,
were in the
awesome.
same state.
I'm from California. What part?
I'm Southern California. Actually, almost mid,
That
but
sucks.
actually
That
low.
sucks. I'm from Northern California. I'm like, dude, it's nothing like those redwood trees. Am I right?
Oh yeah, well I
You
just
ever hug a redwood tree that's like 200 years old, and it's like it feels like it's talking to you? There's no better feeling like that, right? Have you ever done that? Like, forget the desert. Like,
I'm
a
mad at
cactus can eat a dick. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cuss. But you know what I'm saying? Like, when you've
said hug a
been to the
tree
place
earlier.
where you could drive like the little the Mini Cooper through a tree, Northern California. That's where it's at, wine country, and above Redding and all that, Eureka. You've been there, Humboldt County, right?
Well, I drove right through there when we went up to the East Eddy Ranch. Now I want to say I moved from
you
here
smoked
when
the
I was
ganj.
when I was a child. I moved to Oklahoma when I was 21, and we just moved back
Do you
here.
still have all your teeth?
Huh? Did I
It's
what?
an Oklahoma joke.
Oh
I
no.
asked you if you had all your teeth.
Yeah.
You don't have all your teeth?
Yeah, I have all my teeth.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'd expect a Californian. It's an Oklahoma joke.
Yeah, but they do. Okay, that's an Arkansas joke. Come on, get your states right, because Oklahomans they have all
Look,
their
it doesn't
teeth.
matter. It's also a Mississippi and an Alabama joke if you want to be technical.
Techie, yeah, be technical. Anyways, the subject matter for this evening is talking about equality. Doesn't matter whether we're
I don't believe in it.
awake or asleep, we're still have equality. No, how could you not believe in that? Although you have certain three-dimensional things that you do here and experiences that you
Of course.
have, why would you
course.
think that you're either better than or less than somebody else from when you're born with every tool in your toolbox? You're just not aware of it, and that we're going through a process of remembering what we forgot, but it's by choice. It doesn't take away from the equality on what we're doing.
So do you think there's a willful ignorance on people because we're repeated souls and sometimes we just willfully forget?
I think every experience
Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
is a way of learning and growing, and we can either get stuck in the hamster wheel of cycling those experiences over and over, or we can learn from them and try to become a better version or a better person.
Well, we're always trying to be better, but do you think that people willfully are stupid? Because that's what we have in society. Like, what explains that?
Well,
Because I think you're pretty smart, and I'm obviously brilliant, so why is there fucking willful idiots out there? That's my question. It really hurts my feelings, because every time that you talk to somebody, I guarantee you wish they were on your level so they understood so you can grow with them, but they're not. So why are there willful idiots in our society?
to be quite honest, a lot of the people who come here and join in the chats and things like that, you're surrounded by very aware and as you, with your words, brilliant.
Yeah, well,
conscious
you're not.
people.
I mean, when I joined your chat, you had 17 viewers. I'm talking about the millions of people in our society. There's willful idiots. So what are you really saying?
Is it willful, or are they still in the
I think
remembering
it
to
is,
forget?
right? Why if we were just souls on this plane, why would we choose to be stupid, right? Well, then what is it? Why are people so stupid in our society?
I just don't think it's not a matter of being stupid. You're not understanding. It's okay. At some point, we were all
I've seen the most
asleep
ignorant
at the
shit
wheel.
in 2020. So why are they so fucking stupid? Okay. Explain to me then.
Clean,
I'm sorry.
clean the language up a little bit. Um, are
I
you
didn't
trying
even
to
fucking
talk?
cut.
Oh my gosh, Ryan. Okay, let me explain. I've muted you for a second because you're very highly volatile. I don't know what kind of a day you've had, or I don't actually. This is your first time calling in, so I'm trying to understand you, but I'm also picking up so much angst in you. So I'm trying to get to a place where I can explain what we're talking about and what we're sharing, without going over it all over again, because we've been live for almost 2 hours now, and everything you're asking we've already covered. So this is out of respect for you that we're recovering this information. So okay, I'm going to unmute you now and allow, when you ask a question, allow me to answer it. And if you're talking about the mask, no mask, or the virus, no virus, well, I'm going to answer that in a way before I unmute you, so you don't interrupt the answer. Is, if somebody believes in their heart of hearts that there's something out there that will harm them, it will, okay? So if they believe that a vaccine will make things better for them, it will, because they believe it. Now, if you believe, or I believe, that a vaccine will harm me and I'm an anti-vaxxer, then it will. And if I believe that this virus, which I already know viruses cannot live on any surfaces, they have to have a host. And to believe otherwise would be just ignoring some basic things that we were able to verify under a microscope versus bacteria versus a virus. So anyways, my point is that what our intentions are, what comes from our mind, our thought process, into energy that then materializes and manifests into reality in some shape or form, comes from our heart and from our mind. And it is not a three-dimensional representation. It is actually a representation of us that extends far beyond. We perceive this body because our mind, which is consciousness, allows us to see us in a physical form, and has made a physical form and things stationary, so we can navigate and have experience here. Each person is unique. I would never say anybody is willfully ignorant. There's a time for each of us to wake up, and it's always free will, and it's always a choice. Now I'm going to unmute you. Okay. Did you understand? Did I kind of explain it so that it was clear what we're talking about? Ryan, are you there?
I'm absolutely here.
Okay.
I'm absolutely here. I think that was profound what you said. What do you think the meaning of life is? I mean, honestly, like with this COVID, I'm really just, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
Can we be honest?
Because it's encroaching on other people's sovereignty. It's encroaching on our sovereignty when we're forced to do something.
Well, forget about sovereignty. I mean, what do you think, like, the meaning of life is? Like, honestly. Like, because we've all had time to think about it. I could give you mine, but I want to hear yours.
Well, honestly, I believe the meaning of life, or the creation of this place, is a place that is of such density that we can experience things here that we can't in our natural form. We can experience lack and then appreciate abundance. When you come from a space When you come to the realization, the self-awareness of where you actually come from, then you can actually admire the beauty of such a place to expand in your soul growth from each experience that you have, whether it be a marriage or a divorce, something that someone would say is a good experience or a bad. None are good, none are bad. Each are lessons, and it's how we handle them that causes and creates the growth, and for the self exploration that we do with introspection on how we would do things different or maybe better when we would come up about another life partner. But where we originate from, there's no heartbreak, so we wouldn't have such an experience. We're only here for a blink of an eye when you think about being eternal beings. And I don't think that this is the end. I think we move on to other aspects of realms to explore, to continuously expand. So it's like we are soul journeying here, just a journey through this place. What's your thoughts?
Hello.
Hi.
I think that was poetic. I mean, I have my own opinion,
And
but
Sure.
who knows, right?
Right, and yours is valid. So please share it.
We've never been there. We've never been there, but we've all experienced loss, and you know,
Yeah.
who knows what they're feeling? Who knows if we're anything or just some worms in the ground? What are your personal beliefs?
Personally, I can tell you
'Cause I find you
that you're
amazing.
You're
You
nothing. You're not
I'm
nothing.
sorry.
You're not nothing, and you're not worms in the ground. You are not this avatar. You are something far beyond comprehension. We can't really even, from our perspective, from where we're at, even though we get glimpses, we can't even fathom what we truly are. That's how much and how deep it is of remembering to forget.
Can I ask you some questions?
Sure.
And I think these like feel very personal. Is that okay? Can I ask you? And they're relevant. They're social questions. I'm not trying to like, do anything. Just whatever, right? Can I ask you like some real questions? Because you seem like a very honest person.
Yeah, and I'll choose to answer the ones that I choose to answer.
Of course.
Okay.
I'm not asking you like what the next lotto numbers are. You're okay. You're okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
You know how like I talked to a cop a couple of years ago, right? And he told me, I hate drug addicts. They're the worst. Like that was his personal pet peeve, and I just go, you're a cop. What about like rapists and murderers, right? It's very weird to hear that conversation. And I hear people in the riots and protests and these burnings and lootings and just destroying people's lives and all that shit. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. Sorry, don't mute me. Come on.
Okay, I'm not going to. Just please.
It's just how I talk. All right, it's just how I talk. Give me
I
a
know,
little
but
break. All right.
I don't want to get. Everybody seems to.
Let's not get lost without the point that I was saying. Come on.
No. I'm
I
going to
just
tell you, don't
apologize.
put me in YouTube jail. That's all I'm saying. Just don't, because
Cussing
profanity.
is not going to put you in YouTube.
Oh yeah,
jail, all
I've
right?
been in trouble for. I got in trouble for it.
I
Yes,
didn't
did.
say the F word, the N word, the A B C D E F G word. I don't know. But just relax. All right, you're fine. So, but let's not get beside the point. So I see a lot of people nowadays. They're like, you know what? The worst person in the world is a racist. And it's like, don't you think that, like, there is a hierarchy of evil? If I don't like, for instance, I have an Asian girlfriend, right? But I hate Chinese people. Like, they bug me. They have no personality. They have no sense of humor. But Filipino, Vietnamese, they're just the greatest. Japanese, they're greatest to hang out with. They're so much fun, right?
Mm.
Does that make me a bad person? Does somebody that does drugs, I smoke all the time. Forget it. Like, let's have fun. It's okay. But does that make me a bad person?
No.
They say racists are the worst, but what about the rapists? What about the people that are, like, in the churches just destroying little kids' buttholes? What about Epstein? What about Epstein with his private island just abusing little girls?
Ryan. Let's stay on the altitude of the topic, and because those people will have to go through a lot to be able to remember who and become self-aware. And by focusing on negative, by feeding ourselves this, we actually help create this dynamic. And that is one of the things that I talk about a lot. What we focus on, we are actually participating and creating. So we need to take accountability for even thinking or feeding into any narrative. So I'm going to unmute you again. Okay. Yeah, does that make sense to you? Like, by putting your intentions...
I was muted. I didn't hear you. I didn't hear that. For some reason, it cut off.
Okay, so when we look or think, we're putting our intentions in, and then what happens when we put our intentions...
When we look and we think, when we put our intentions... Wait, explain that.
On the topics that you were talking about.
When we look and we think...
Ryan, stop it. Listen, please.
No, I'm listening. I'm trying to grasp what you're saying.
When we are looking at those type of things, or we are interested or talking about them or bringing that up, we actually are helping to create it. And I don't want to be part of creating.
Are you saying
anything like
that? Are you saying that if I talked about, like, I'm sorry, and I'll keep it PG. If I'm talking about, like, little kids getting diddled, are you saying that us bringing it up is, like, perpetuating the cause?
Yeah, and you'll understand. I promise.
Should we be silent about it then? Should I not talk about it?
No. Oh my gosh, you're not understanding.
I'm trying to.
I don't think you quite understand the power that you hold within your intentions, with your vibration, with your voice, with your mind. Where your attention goes, energy flows. Energy comes in neutral. We put the intention. If that's what we are focusing in on, and that's where we're sending energy, therefore we are part of the problem and not part of the solution. What we should be paying attention to or thinking about is, listen, I'm going to tell you what we should focus on. We should focus on the beauty and the divineness of our children and how they should be cared for, loved, and just nurtured, and raise them up to be the unlimited potential that they are. And that's what I think about.
I completely agree.
So
I completely agree. Like, I have a little nephew. I have two little nephews, right? And both of them were just amazing people, right? When they were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved out of state, and then one day I came back, and, like, they were, like, they were grown up, but they were different people. And they were both, unfortunately, part of the Catholic thing, and they're part of a lawsuit getting diddled. It's I don't know how to explain it, but this is a terrible situation. So are you saying that if I don't think about it, it will go. I don't understand, like, because it's just reality, you know.
No, no.
I
Okay,
don't like
reality
kids
is
getting.
subjective. That first of all, and second of all, what you should be doing is being, of course, supportive, supportive of those boys. Be there for them.
Well, how?
Be the
Yeah.
uncle that you
Okay.
should be. Be lead by example. Help pull them out of this darkness and into the light. Set them free of this bondage. Let them get whatever they have coming
So
to
should I
them
kill
and
a
deserve.
priest?
No,
Like,
no,
oh, well, these
no.
are the evil, sinister people of the world. I don't know.
Well, religion is
Like, don't you?
the
Don't you?
basic
What
terminology.
about these people that are like? They're protected. They're being protected right now, and they're calling my little nephews and like a whole bunch of other little boys, you know, fabricators, and they're lying. Like, you know, and they're just getting away with it, and they're doing it over and over again. Like, what do you do about like evil, like living in the world? Like, I don't mean to be like excited about it, but doesn't that like make your skin crawl that these little or these they're just evil people are crawling around, violating our innocence and our innocent children and everything? You know,
I
it's hard
was
to think
very,
positive
very
when this thing is
protective
going around.
of where my children were at, and I was very,
When
very
you, yeah,
careful. But I
right?
have to say,
Don't you think if somebody like,
who do you
you
have
know,
control of, Ryan?
did something to your kid, you would just like lash out? Like, how is it? It's kind of hard to think evil, you know, think positive thoughts, right?
Well, it's funny that you should say that, considering my daughter was killed just a year and a half ago. And does it sound like I have?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said my daughter was killed a year and a half ago, but I don't have
Oh my God.
negative.
How many dicks did she suck?
Watch your mouth.
I'm sorry.
You're talking about my child, sir.
No, no, no. I was reading a text message. I'm sorry. What happened?
It doesn't matter what happened. What matters is who can you control? Who do you have control over?
Right, exactly.
You have control of yourself, right?
Exactly. Yourself, and that's it. Like,
and-
we are just one little entity encased in a like you know when you're like a kid and you're like playing in the bathtub and like when you let the drain out and it just turns into like a little whirlwind kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you kind of like spin your figure and it like turns into like a what is that, like a tornado, a hurricane. You know what I'm talking about? Like with the water.
Yep.
You know, we're just little drops of water spinning around, and there's just positive and evil going around everywhere we go, and we're just spinning down the drain till eventually we die, right?
Oh, okay. I was catching up with the chat. I think really, honestly, maybe.
Were you not listening to me?
Yeah, I was
I'm
totally
sorry.
listening to you, but
I was giving you my heart.
okay, maybe I would love it if you would stick around and listen and participate more in the chat and get the feel for the group and find out if this is a good fit for you, if you'd like to grow and expound. But you know, we talk about self love, self care, and also how the control that we have is of ourself and what we project out from ourself, from our intentions. And we go for the high road to send out the highest good for everybody and equality, not sending out and feeding into narratives that you will find over time with self-discovery that we all went through it, that we were part of the problem. By looking into these things and focusing on them, we were adding to them and giving them power. So as soon as you get to the realization that you do not want to give power, your sovereignty away to another or to another thought form, sending that energy with that intention out to create such a dynamic is what you're talking about, you'll stop and you'll redirect and you'll want to be sending out energy that is productive, healthy, safe, beautiful, loving, nurturing, and always in equality, and especially for those who cannot take care of themselves, to be raised up as the unlimited potential that they are, and loved unconditionally and completely safe. That's what I project out. And Ryan, I want to thank you for calling. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this call. And any final words before we disengage this call?
Yeah, absolutely. It has been a pleasure. Am I talking to you?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. God, it's been such a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm glad your kid died. You psycho.
Okay. Meta, are you still here?
I'm here.
I hung up on him. Hopefully, I cut off the last part. And whoa, Doc is fast. Doc is fast. Yeah. Wow. I didn't know what to think. His energy was everywhere, very unbalanced. So, yeah, I mean, I tried to handle them with kid gloves, and I gave him a lot of room. But, it's a process, and like we were talking about earlier, it's not easy. It's not an easy one to go through. It's a total renewing of the way we think. Our heart is changed. We understand the responsibility we take for every intention that we send out. And he didn't have even the fundamental basic value system within himself to think beyond thinking that he was nothing but dirt and to be eaten up by worms. That kind of broke my heart a little bit. What were you thinking?
Um,
A little shocking.
I was just thinking about what I'm going to do tomorrow, and I was reading the chat.
Yeah, I
Um,
unmuted you a long time ago. A long time ago. I kept muting
oh yeah,
him,
yeah.
but I unmuted your microphone because I don't like all of the profanity. And that last
Hmm.
comment is just like, wow, when you have, and that, let's look at this, guys, as an example. The example is when you're focusing on darkness, then what happens is it's in you, and then you'll project that out. That's like, who would say such a thing like that to someone who lost a child? I couldn't imagine ever saying anything of that nature to anybody that's had such a loss or any kind of loss.
Hmm.
Yeah, I kept muting him out and giving him another chance because we all start somewhere. We all start somewhere. And a lot of us start with looking into truth stuff or dissecting events that may not be of the highest good, but through the dissection of the events, we learn and we grow and we come out of that. It's a narrow path we're on it, and we can choose. He can choose to feel the way that he does. He has that right. Who am I to tell him he doesn't? But I have
Hmm.
the right out here to, say, hey, chill out a little bit. And I don't know, the topics he was bringing up, they're not things that I focus on. How about you?
Hmm. Um, there's a lot I don't focus on. It's like what I was saying earlier. Certain thoughts come up. And certain things, in my opinion, are emotional. And I choose not to go there because I'm. I told you before that I'm clairvoyant, So there's certain places I don't want to go because it's like once I'm attached to that, it's like I'm there, and I just don't want to be there. I'm very empathic. When people go through things, it makes me cry, and I can't stop crying. You know what I mean? And I just
Right.
don't like going to that place. But I do appreciate those abilities, and I just choose to always tune into your channel. And let me just say, I never said I love what you do. I definitely love what you do, and I've had losses as well. Um, but no one could definitely, man, wow, oh my goodness, am I getting emotional right now? Okay, so
No, well, you need to kind of
you, your
shake
your
him
whole,
off a little bit, kind of shed him off
yeah,
of you a little bit because he was
hmm
he was he was sending off a very confusing energy of like uncertainty and like he's trying to find his place here. He's not in balance. He's like we talk about, we don't want to be uh, so polarized positive that we don't experience low lows and understand and grow from them. But when we are intentionally talking about specific events to get to the point where we understand that we actually create that. Oh, did the conference end? Are you still there? Oh boy. Whoops. Hold on. Sorry, you guys. I know you guys can hear that.
Welcome to Uber Conference by Dialpad.
Okay. If Propagate wants to call back, then I'm going to.
can you hear me?
Okay, you're still here.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. What happened?
He called back and I hung up. Okay, so, okay, um, okay, he's still here also. How's that? Okay, all right. Now you're here, right? Just you, Meta.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
here. Can you hear me?
I can hear
All
you, but
right.
I
Cool.
can't see you. But he popped back up again on there. So what I'm going to do is uh, locking the conference. Okay, no more calls, guys. Because the conference is now locked. I'm gonna finish up with propagate this light, and it's just the energies that he was putting off were swirly. They were all over the place and confusion. And when like I say, we can't be completely polarized positive because then we're not going in a rhythmatic pattern of experiencing and expanding. And part of this self-awareness is learning how to put our minds, capture our thoughts, and to direct, because our thoughts, our mind, our heart will then manifest out on the world stage. And the more of us that become aware of this God given ability within us, then we can actually make some drastic changes where things of that nature will no longer even be in our paradigm. We'll still have experiences, we're going to still have expansion, but some of that low, low, low stuff won't be a part of this realm anymore. That's um, part of this awakening journey, and why so many of us choose to take it.
hmm Definitely correct, in my opinion. I like what you said there. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. things could be very emotional for people. You know what I mean? And I still say lean on the positive. You know, trust me, I've been through it. I've been through it. I've been through it, and I still go through things. And that's what I meant by perfect. I guess you said my life is not. Well, let me not say that. I'll just say that I want to lean more on believing that things are the way that I like it to be, and I want to go ahead and manifest that. Um, there's information swirling all around me all the time. It's coming from this person, that person, this, that, the other. This happens, and I get a little upset, and then I notice that when I get upset about something and I feel bad inside, it seems like it just domino effects in my environment. You know what I mean? And I just don't like that. That's pretty dangerous. You know what I mean? It's not a joke. If we want to be here, live long, and prosper, I had to take from Star Trek. I had to take that from Star Trek real quick. I did watch TV. But yeah, we I feel for myself that I rather just lean on being as positive as I can because I've heard stories of people going to heaven and they have a life review, right? This is what I'm hearing. I don't know what happens, but this is what I'm hearing. And when they have that life review, they get to see how they affected other people. They get to not only see that, but they get to feel what they felt, and also the people that were affected off of them by you affecting them, and you get to feel how they felt. And if I'm going around, just not being right, in my opinion, then I don't want to get to that point if that does happen, right? If that does happen, I don't want to get to that point, and I don't want to feel those feelings because I know what I feel already, being the way that I am, using my God skill, and being able to feel things, really deep, right?
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't want to get to that point. I definitely don't want to get to that point and feel all of that. You know what I mean? Because I could look back on my life and be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. You know. So I made it my thing to go around to people and say, you know what? If I ever did anything or said anything to you that didn't make you feel good or wasn't right or something like that, I definitely apologize right now. I definitely apologize right now because I'm more aware now. Now I'm more aware, because I'm tapping into awake and activate. I'm keeping my mind active, more active in the positive than negative. I fasted from TV. I can learn how to control my emotions more. I'm still working on that though. You know, and I just and also I'm a person that likes to be to myself. So there was a time in my life where I was kind of scared to be around people. You know what I mean? And so me doing my thing now, like just right now talking to you, is I'm actually a quiet person, just opening up a little bit, but I'm doing it without placing blame and finger pointing negativity. I'm doing it from what I feel is a positive, because look, you have so many followers. I mean, this stream or your streams in general, they may last for who knows how long. You know what I mean? Being out there, and you never know who will watch it, and who will be affected by what you say. So it's best for me to be that I'm aware of what I'm doing now more than I was before. Then I'm going to say, hey, if I'm going to be on the phone talking to you, then I'm going to come at it from a positive perspective, because it's not just me and you talking, right? There's other people listening, right?
Right.
And at the same time, I'm not trying to be positive, because some people say like, well, you're putting on the fake smile, or you're just fooling yourself. What I'm saying is this: I'm not trying to be positive. That's how I've always been, but I've made mistakes in my life. But I feel that I'm more aware now that um, even with my OBE experiences, it's hard for me to have those experiences come back and be negative. In my opinion, what I experienced anyway. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
and
Trying to break it. Yeah, go
the
ahead. I'm sorry.
the only thing that I can say about the other side is it's disconnecting, and it's okay. It's connected back. Sorry guys, OBS is having issues. Um,
Mm.
Anyways, we're back. Um, when I was on the other side, I was told I didn't have to come back. But what I was shown was that succession of like different perspectives or different possibilities and probabilities for somebody's life if I did not come back. Now, I didn't have to do anything but be here, and it changed the entire dynamics of somebody else's life. That's what I
Mm.
experienced there. So,
Mm.
as for feeling, it was my heart did connect, and as soon as because I didn't, I was like, no, I want to stay here. Coming from such a dense and heavy realm to being surrounded by where I was at, and then that being come up and sharing that with me is like, no, I don't want to go back. And then when they showed up, my heart reached out and then made the choice. I made that choice that I did not want to see any of that uh, be any part. Um, and and then bam, I was back in my body. And then I opened my eyes and recognized everybody. And which I think it was like maybe 6 days after the accident when I came back. But you know, we all can, you know, guess a little bit or glean from one another from what each of us share from the experiences that we have, from the glimpses that we have, and in such an experience as that, um, even to do the procedure on me, they had to stop my heart. They had to cool my body down and stop my heart in order to uh, do the actual surgery. So I guess you would call that twice dead. I don't know. So you know, the avatar seemed on, but my eyes were vacant. I was not here. I left. I seen the ambulance. I seen me laying in the street, and poof, I was gone. I was not around. And not only was I gone, I didn't recognize anybody. When I wasn't in my physical avatar, I didn't recognize the people around me or anything. And then, you know, 6 days later, I open my eyes and I recognize everybody, and I'm talking and I'm asking for things, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing. So, um, when you go over there, it could be unique for each of us, depending on the circumstances, depending on our age, depending on the situation. But a lot of times, we'll think, again, what we talked about earlier, we'll think that um, feel guilty or be holding on to something that they've long forgiven and forgotten, and have moved on, with their relationship, friendship with you, and it's not even crossing their mind. It's us that we need to then forgive ourselves, and then that goes along with the self-awareness, self-love, and learning to love ourselves. And a lot of times when we come from different religious backgrounds and stuff, we're taught that we're horrible, nasty creatures, and it's really hard to love a horrible, nasty creature, right? So we have to like be deprogrammed to allow the truth to come in, and then to be able to then express that love to another in such a pure form. There's just nothing like it. So we should always stay on our narrow path that's unique to each of us, and gleaning and growing from share shows like this, and even from that gentleman earlier. I'm not angry or upset, and I really hope, and I know that most of you in that come here are beyond that, because there's no reason to, because he doesn't, number one, he doesn't know anything about me, okay, except for what you see on YouTube. Doesn't know anything about my daughter or any of the dynamics. So, you know, some people are just still in their confusion, and I may have upset him by saying what I said about focusing on such things. Then we're part of the problem instead of part of the solution. I may have triggered him. So don't, just think that, although his energy was all over the place, he may be in the process of going through self-discovery, self-awareness in his journey. And we all know it's difficult. It's difficult. It's not for the faint of heart. So let's lift him up, and let's send positivity and help to give him the strength to endure what he's going through with his nephews, to be able to lift them up into wholeness, into their uniqueness, and into the beauty and their sovereignty, and allow them to express in the equality that they are. So, and I do appreciate you guys enduring with that. I enjoy talking to everybody. Anybody that calls in, if you're not, like the first guy that, was just trouble. The second guy, it's just, I felt a swirling of confusion, just kind of all over the place type of a thing. So, and yeah, I have all my teeth, by the way, in case he's still watching. Yeah, I still have all my teeth. But the point is, we are walking in this together, hand in hand, side by side, gleaning from one another. And even when we run into that would be what I would call a buffer. Somebody comes in to buffer. It's still a lesson. There's a lesson for all of us. It's can we handle it? Can we shed it off? Can we expand from that experience? And how could I have handled it better next time? You know what I'm saying?
Know what you're saying?
Yeah.
Definitely, I agree with that.
Yep.
Man, people in the chat love it. People stuck in, stayed in tune.
Yeah.
We still at a good view count here.
Well, and also
people watching.
I have to say, the chat was picking it up too. They were picking up everything that I was picking up with them. And that's why I say, this is a special group. This is a channel it's going to attract special, unique people, a certain, a type of personality, and it's not meant for everybody. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but I can see by even the responses that were going on that people could feel it, and they were like, they wanted me to disconnect, but I could also feel the underlining confusion and pain going on in there as I was actually verbally able to I was speaking with them and attuning myself to his voice fluctuations. And he would go like he would mask, and then he would reveal, then he would mask, then he would reveal, mask, reveal. And I don't know if he doesn't quite understand that he too has these variabilities within him. When they come into his awareness, he'll know. And everybody comes in their own time. Everybody comes in their own time. So it's not a race. It's just a matter of a lot of things we don't want to see going on, or even hear that are going on. And those things can be removed because we will stop putting our energy, our intention into such things. And we'll stop squabbling over the left, right, or flat, or globe stuff, because each can experience that. And that, that doesn't cause harm. But the things that we would love to see go away would be something. What we want to see come into fruition is peace, love, generosity, kindness, nurturing, our children to be brought up knowing that they are divine and a child of the Most High, and with limitless potential, not bound up or limited or less than, but equal in all ways, and loved unconditionally. So, when we talk about children touch my heart. And yeah. Yep. Do you have any final words before we disconnect?
I would just say that us as adults, in my opinion, um, to go ahead and just, everybody does what they, do what they do, but just just for myself, I try to be a better person. Like they say, the best version of yourself. You said that earlier. Because we could be affecting other people, and other people is including even animals as well. Even just their environment.
Plants,
You know.
animals.
So yeah, exactly. Everything in our environment. So I would just say be better. Like with me, instead of littering like I used to do, I will just hold it until I find a trash can. Just simple acts like that, I guess will let what Mother Nature or God know, or your higher self, or just basically you're just doing things on a different way, and I think that will domino effect into just more. It's maybe you'll be looked after more. I don't know. What I mean? I think that we're all looked after. We're probably all looked after.
Hmm.
As far as having a higher beings, or if some people call it higher beings looking after us. You know, um, but if anything, that will show them. I mean, if you believe that we have a relative and they passed on, and you feel that they're still living on the other side, maybe they're watching us here and there, and we're just and by us doing these small, what looks like small things, will just turn into a bigger thing that will be in your benefit.
The
If
ripple
that if
effect.
that sounds logical.
Yeah, the ripple effect.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, you're spot on.
Mhm.
You are spot on,
Mhm.
and I don't like the labels. So I'll describe things, and a lot of people like, well, this is that, or is that, when it's really none. It's just or sometimes I'll try and include every label, so that way there's no exclusion, because in truth there is no exclusion. Everybody is included. We all are in this together. We can buffer one another, or with the exchange of the energy comes in neutral, but the small things, like that I was talking about. I mean, we cannot say definitively when somebody is experiencing a flat plane as the reality of this earth. How can we, when they're getting affirmations after affirmations, how can we say it when we're having affirmations or whatever of a globe, or space, and or whatnot? How can we argue back and forth? That's a pointless argument, because both are valid, and both can be true simultaneously. So we should put our energy into the things that are going to make the best changes, that will do the most balancing of equality for all of mankind, to be uh, fed, roof over your head, basic necessities. And I'm not talking socialists, because we always need to have motivation. That's part of our experience here. We get motivated, and then through motivation, then we want to, that's what strives us to be a better human being towards other people. So motivation is key. We can't have socialism. If we have socialism, then everybody's getting paid the same. So when one person's doing the work of six people and everybody's getting the same paycheck, then that one person's no longer going to be motivated, because what's the incentive? I'm not talking a socialist type of a situation. I'm talking about who we are, what we are able to do, how we work within one another, how we um, connect, and who we truly have control over, and who we should only want to have control over, which is ourselves. Gain mastery of oneself, and all else will fall into place.
Definitely. I definitely love this qualitative research. That's what I do, and I appreciate you doing yours as well. And we're here together talking about this, and and I've also seen, the younger generation, at least from my age, the younger generation, also making videos about, like, ME effects or whatnot. And I've also seen a podcast. Oh, I actually heard a podcast. It was by the younger generation. They weren't even teenagers, and they were like mocking how some of us adults talk. So they were doing a podcast about Mandela effects, and I give them kudos because it sounded really good though. And it sounded really good for their age. I think maybe they were like around 8 or 9 or something like that. It was like three of them. And they were talking about Mandela effects and things, but they were mocking some of the adults, the way that they talk, and especially saying some of the big words or whatever.
Those
And
$100
so that
words.
just made me, yeah, yeah. And even um, doing my research of the ME, I've seen that teenagers or whatnot are making videos, and I can see similarities and hear similarities from this person's video or how they broadcast. Some people start off with "Hey y'all," or they always say the Mandela effect is when a large group of people, it's the same old thing, right? But
Right.
they do how they they do how they do. But my point is that they're looking at us, you know. So, in my opinion, at least for me, I try to be a positive example because
You're a role model.
if I'm not right, it's kind of like when I was a small kid, I was looking up to the older people. I wanted to be an older person, and when I became an older person, I wanted to be a kid again. So we got to remember, if you're familiar with that yourself, that maybe some of these people are looking up. Even adults will look up to other adults. So there's a lot of anger and chaos going on. Then what do you think is going to happen, right? It's just going to carry on to the next person, the generation after generation, and there's no what's the word? Proclivity. There's no resolve. There's no resolve.
Keep going in circles.
And right, going in circles. So this positive information that you put out, and a few other people as well, this positive
Several.
information in general, from my opinion, it helps feed the soul what it needs, because we feed the body what it needs. We need to feed who we are spiritually. If that makes any sense, I would say go ahead and do that as much as you can, and then you'll see your world change. I mean, when I started making changes with myself, that's when I became aware of the whole ME thing, and then that took me down a whole different place, and now I'm realizing who I am more, spiritually, learning from other people as well.
We can glean
so,
from one another, but it's always an inside job.
Right. So it's like, okay, I made the change within myself before I came across it. So maybe it's a whole thing of when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So this is the direction I'm going, and these are the things that come along on that path, going in that direction. So if you're attached to something what's negative, something that you don't like, that doesn't make you feel well, in my opinion, we're, like I said, my propagate light, right?
Propagate this light.
Well, my blog is propagate light, but it's all good. Yeah. It looks like we're having little issues with my name here. I don't know.
You started
But,
it when you called in and you said, "This is propagate the light." I was like, "Really? No,
Yeah.
you're wrong. It's propagate this light." And you started laughing. You're so funny.
Right.
And
Yeah. Well, just to iron out what I was saying, when I was in my relationship, unfortunately we argued. I don't like to argue, but we had some bad moments, and a lot of those times happened in our vehicle, and then so we're driving along, and then the vehicle breaks down. We got to keep taking it to the shop. It keeps breaking down. It got to a point where I realized, wait a minute, maybe it's the energy that we're putting off is affecting our environment, the car, so I think that has something to do with um I think that has something to do with uh like the cars breaking down and things going wrong. It has something to do with our energy, whatever that is,
Hmm.
that comes from us. I would just say, just lean on the positive more, and hopefully positive things will happen, especially, even if things are going a certain way right now that you don't like. Certain things is, whatever. Lean on the positive as much as you can. You know what I mean? Just lean on the positive as much as you can, because I think that's the energy that's going to change things to be better. I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm in this too. I'm trying myself. But I realized that me leaning on the positive more has actually made things a little bit more better than it would have been before
Yep.
if I
And
wasn't
and
doing
that
that.
that is true. We actually have to
Hmm.
deprogram in order to reprogram, in order to let the truth rush in and allow it to flow. It's not an overnight process. Now, like I said though, each person, it's a different amount of time that it could take. I've seen people that, start a year ago and start coming into the self awareness that have come along leaps and bounds to something that has been in, the dreams and visions and all that stuff started, a little over 2 decades ago. So, I've got a few decades when that came into my awareness, and who knows how long before that the dream working had begun. Because, like I said at the beginning, you guys, we're all dream workers. We're all learning, and we share with each other. And the reason we share with each other, and I have these open share shows, is so we can glean from one another. There's so much um, wisdom in so many of all of you that are, in even in the chat, that it's mind expanding, and it also helps to be more accepting of each person, being unique and having their own sovereign experience. And when that young man was on with us when we were talking about the virus thing, the problem I have with the virus thing, the only problem that I have with it, is that it's actually encroaching on other people's freedoms, sovereignty, and rights to move by telling us we have to wear a certain thing in order to do this or that. Um, that's where, the line needs to be drawn. If what we are wanting is robbing somebody else of their freedom of movement, and they're not causing any harm or malice or any ill intention toward anybody, why should we ever want to put out intentions of trying to control another? That's um, that's the part of it, of that whole ordeal, that I'm pushing out, that just dissipate and go into the sea of forget, and that we can get back to normal and not be trying to control one another, whether we put things on our face, or not. Or some people have allergic reactions to certain kinds of cloths or certain kinds of uh, rubber or whatever's around the head or whatever, and it causes skin irritations and other issues that cause physical problems with people. Why is that being silenced when this other is so dominant? That's what I'm talking about when I say, that we should, whatever we're doing, whatever we're creating, co-creating with one another, it should never be to oppress or control. And the only way that we can be really truly oppressed and controlled is if we give our power over. Now, in this situation, it has to do with the quantum. And then manifesting out on the world stage. So there's more people, obviously, that believe that this is a truth than there are that don't, or we would not all be impacted the way that we are. The same as using currency as an exchange. We agree to it, therefore we have it, and that's become a permanent part of our physical reality, because it's better than saying I have oranges and you've got lemons and I don't need lemons but you want oranges. So we can exchange now, and I can get what I need and you can get your oranges. And so, we've agreed upon it. We need to look at it from the same aspect with this other, and try to get more people to turn within and want to take back their own sovereignty, self-awareness, self-love, and not want to be oppressing anybody. Even when we look into those kind of things too much, we can get attached to one side or the other, and we really want to try and stay out of polarization. When there's two opposite things going on, both can be true and also both can be false. So, you know what I mean? That's the basic fundamentals is self-awareness, self-consciousness, conscious awareness, self-love, to be able to love somebody else unconditionally, and anything that we think that we have within us that's flawed, and this, ladies especially, do that exercise in the mirror. That's an old post that is on there, to give yourself compliments every day in the mirror until you're able to look in the mirror and make eye contact with yourself and absorb those compliments as authentic, and then restore that self-love, and then be able to love your husband or boyfriend or whatever, your male, female, it goes both ways. So and more thoroughly, more deeply, and more profoundly, and take care of each other just that much more, and always want to be the highest version of ourselves.
Hmm. I don't know about the husband thing, but no, I'm just joking. I know what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me? You still there?
Yeah, we got a problem in the chat. Apparently, Richie, mod up and do your job, dude, because we did have some problems earlier, and we're actually getting ready to zip this up. But yeah, lines are closed. But okay, so let me go into where you are, and you said your final thoughts already. So I'm going to close up the conference. Yes.
Yep.
I'll send you an email here in a few minutes if we want to get with Richie into the private area of chat on StreamYard. That'd be awesome. I've been wanting to talk to Really Woke Richie for ever. So, okay, I'm gonna close this
Okay.
up. Thank you so much for calling in. You're just awesome sauce, always.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. You are as well. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Okay. Now, Really Woke Richie. Since you're awake, I don't know, are you going live? What are you going to do? Because, I can't send it on the WhatsApp app because that's on my phone. Can you not get into your email? Because I can send the link to the email. And then we can get into a private chat. I want to say thank you very much, everybody. I know this was a power stream for me. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm not used to going this long. It's gonna take me a few minutes. Got to get up and walk around a little bit before I open up that StreamYard link for the offline after hours chat. And I definitely want Richie there. Definitely. Even if I have to type that stupid link in one little freaking thing at a time on the WhatsApp app. I will figure it out. So, you guys, always, always share what you know and always listen so we can grow. We're always wanting to expand. We're wanting to share. We're wanting to grow. We're wanting to, become more self aware, understand the energy, understand the mechanics of our thoughts and our intentions and how they impact not only what's going on in our environment, but the other people around us. Show the support, lifting each other up, not tearing each other down, and do everything you do to the highest capability that you can. Be the best that you can be. Let's all learn from mistakes, grow from them, and learn how to handle things and situations in the most appropriate way, treating each other equally, no matter what, if they have remembered to forget or, you know, they could be enjoying the experience of the 3D, but it doesn't take away from the actual equality that they have within them. So always share what you know. Listen, so we can grow. And give me that thumbs up. I would appreciate it. Peace. Have yourself a wonderful evening.